Make sure that we just go live out of nowhere. All right. Then we about to go live right now, though.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We are going live.
How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Pieces and blessings upon all my Akhis and all my sisters out there. Welcome to Split Decision. Happy New Year. 2019 was the beginning of Split Decision. However, 2020 is the takeover of Split Decision. And we have in the red corner no other than Akhi, whatever you want to call me. And to my left in the blue corner is no other than
Yo, Professor Nims, you know me, the pundit with the PhD in pugilism, aka 3P. Happy New Year to everybody, and welcome back to another edition.
So y'all gotta realize that's a real life professor. Not anybody could sit up here. You gotta have some credentials to your name. So Professor Nim is obviously a professor with a PhD degree in real life. And if y'all want to have a PhD degree, if y'all want to become hardcore boxing fans, then tune in to Split Decision every Sunday live. And we obviously speak the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So if you are allergic to the truth, then you might get an ear infection. So, like I said, we're not going to hurt you. We just probably end up hurting your feelings. However, we're going to tell it like it is. We're not going to ride any wave. We're not going to ride anybody's side. We just neutral at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
We speak facts here. We speak facts.
We just speak facts. We just talking from a hardcore boxing perspective. So shout out to all my Akhis. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to DBN. And shout out to Professor Nim in the building. So 2020, what's up to the hardcore boxing fans? We got a lot to talk about. And
what's up? We got the end of the year awards. We got the decade. We got at least one decade award.
We got a decade award, the coincidentalist award, the hopeless award. All of that.
I got me some new drip too.
And Professor Nim rocking that new drip, you already know. So if y'all want to be dripped up like the Akhis be and like the professors be on Split Decision, then go ahead and cop the Akhi merch in the description box below. And if you're trying to get smarter by the minute, subscribe below. If you're trying to get dumb about a second, don't listen to these casual fans. However, let's get straight to it, Professor Nim. So my man Terence Crawford, you know he wants all the smoke. You know, he went on Instagram yesterday and he posted a picture of him flexing on the haters and stuff. And he also stated 2020, no ducking season. It's basically he telling all these welterweights, don't duck me in 2020. I want to fight all these PBC fighters, this and that. Then he went live with his broski. I'm not sure who he was. However, he basically called out Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia. He called out both of the Garcias. He even called out Manny Pacquiao and all these welterweights, including Errol Spence. Yeah, so let me start off with this. What's your take on that whole commotion? Because a lot of people had a different reaction to it. And more importantly, let's start off with this because it ain't like that guy that, Terence Crawford broski. It ain't like he was lying or anything. A lot of stuff he was bringing up was facts. Maybe his energy, people didn't like that more so. However, it ain't like he was lying. Like the Mikey Garcia situation, he did avoid a Gamboa. He did avoided Danny Garcia in a way because he was negotiating with Danny Garcia and now he fighting Jesse Vargas and Danny Garcia finds somebody else. And Danny stated, hey, Mikey Garcia left the negotiating table. I heard that he was trying to negotiate a fight as soon as I came to the table. I ain't heard nothing anymore. So what's your take on that? First of all, on, the Mikey Garcia smoke, the Danny Garcia smoke, and just the whole rant that the broski of Terence Crawford went on.
So I think that it's good that they're using this platform as a way to kind of get their thoughts and feelings out to the public. But I still think that there is this elephant in the room that's not being acknowledged, right? So,
and who's that?
So I'll get to it in 1 second.
Okay.
I think we know who it is, but I'll get to it in 1 second. So one thing I want to say is that Terence Crawford has tremendous heart. He's my pound for pound number one right now, slightly ahead of Lomo, but he is with Bob Arum, and Bob Arum has proven to be a lifelong curmudgeon even before he was old and to that age, and he wants to keep his money in house, right? So when Bob Arum he had an interview to kind of talk about Terence Crawford's future. He acknowledged some of the, Spence. Well, he tried to drag Spence a little bit. Said I don't think he's going to fight in 2020, and then he kind of talked about the other welterweights that's not being interesting. And you know what he did? He bigged up one of his welterweights. And then he talked about a couple of 140 pounders that he said that, these are the big fights. Like once they're willing to come up, meaning that I want to keep all this money in house. I really don't want to negotiate with Al Heyman because he is younger and smarter than me, and he's probably going to out negotiate me. I'm not going to get options on all these other fighters. So Terence is left to kind of clean up this work. So he has to go out there and let people know that, hey, I'm willing to fight all these fighters. But in saying that, he had his broski kind of come and, cast certain aspersions on these fighters. So he kind of gave a reason for why all of these fights are not happening. But he didn't acknowledge the biggest elephant in the room,
and that's
which
Porter.
is Bob. No, just Bob.
Oh,
Arum.
Bob. Oh, I thought you were about to say Porter.
Yeah.
Well, in the comment section, I posted the video, and a lot of people was just saying, hey, what about Porter? Even right now, a lot of people mentioning Porter and stuff. And what do you think Terence Crawford, his explanation for the Porter fight? He stated, listen, when Porter had a strap, he wasn't calling my name. He didn't want the smoke.
Facts.
Kenny Porter didn't want the smoke. And as soon as they lost the strap to Errol Spence, now they have nothing to lose. They came and called me out. So that's how Terence Crawford feels. What's your take on that?
So I think there's a lot of legitimacy to that. With that said, I still think that's probably the maybe third best welterweight fight that can be made right now. Obviously, the best welterweight fight that can be made is Crawford versus Spence. And I'm saying that it could be made hypothetically, but, we need to learn a little bit more about Spence's health situation. And then I think the second best welterweight fight that could be made is Spence and Pacquiao. Any kind of permutation, either Spence or Pacquiao, or Pacquiao and Crawford. And then after that, I think that the third or fourth best fight is Porter against Crawford. So you asked me earlier that do you think it's a style matchup? Do you think I'd say no way. I think this guy is the master when it comes to adjustments. I don't see anybody right now in the game, including Lomachenko, who makes better adjustments mid-fight, mid-round than Terence Crawford.
Yeah. So Johnson,
Go ahead.
Sean Johnson stated in the comment section that Bob will be the reason why Terence Crawford won't go down in the Hall of Fame. I think he's a Hall of Fame fighter already. However, he's basically saying he won't get them legacy fights that he need because he should have went to the PBC instead of re-signing with Bob Arum. And that's what we basically stated time and time again during split decision episodes. Y'all could go back to all the throwbacks we had in 2019. But for the meantime, I got to be honest, and I got to bring up both sides of the equation, because I'm not just going to talk about Porter and not bring up the points that the Porter fans been bringing up to me, emailing me, and sending me. So they've been telling me, hey, listen, he's saying he want the Danny Garcia smoke. He's calling out Danny Garcia heavy. However, he stated Porter is coming off a loss, this and that. But Danny Garcia lost to Porter. He don't have a strap. So how come the Danny Garcia smoke, kind of wakes him up to work out in the morning? However, the Sean Porter fight, for example, doesn't excite him in a way. So what's your take on that, first of all, before I get my take on it?
So, honestly, I think that he'll beat him. I think he'll actually beat him in a better fashion. And I'm speaking of Terence Crawford beating Porter. I think he'll beat him in a better fashion than Errol Spence. I honestly, and I don't think it's an issue with matchup. I honestly just don't think his heart is into it. So you have to think, so when you get up to train, you're going into combat, right? So sparring hurts, getting up and running hurts. Actually, the fight is probably the least amount of damage that you're going to take because, you train for it at the least 8 weeks. You're sparring probably half of those weeks, and it beats up your body. And you have to get up. And first of all, you have to realize that, I'm going out there to take a piece of this man. All right, I have him leave a piece of himself in that ring. And if you've grown up with somebody, if you do that, it's hard to have your heart into that. So I think part of it is that, hey, I'm the creme de la creme. I'm at the top right now, and I can't afford to slip up. So that means that every fight that I have, every challenge that I come up against, my heart has to be into my dedication. And I think that he'll, if push into a corner, I think that he'll come out fighting and he will fight Porter. I just don't think his heart is in it right now.
Yeah, I agree with you on that part because, your heart has to be in it. And obviously Crawford and Dan and Sean, they don't have any bad blood or anything like that. So it's not like Danny Garcia, for example, because his dad gonna be talking that ish, and he gonna want to prove him wrong. And obviously they do have history. They fought in the amateurs, and I believe Terence Crawford beat him once, and Danny won once. So let's get the record straight in the pros. Obviously they fought for free in the amateurs, so let's fight in the pros for all the money in the world.
Let's make 7 digits.
However, you gotta fans have to realize where Terence Crawford is coming from. Because they want to tell him, hey, you're afraid of Porter, this and that. But y'all got to keep in mind, he stated, listen, when he had a strap, he didn't come out my way. He didn't call me out. However, now when he in a lose situation, I'm talking about Terence Crawford, and Sean Porter is in a win-win situation because he fighting the pound for pound number one. Regardless if he win or lose, he's a winner because he fighting for he fighting for a strap. He fighting pound for pound number one, and all he has to do is give Terence Crawford a good fight. If he gives Terence Crawford a good fight, he's a winner because people are looking to compare Terence Crawford performance versus Errol Spence performance. So he's in a lose-lose situation because he's supposed to be the Sean Porter. And obviously, I believe Sean Porter stylistically give Terence Crawford a hard time. However, I have Terence Crawford winning. So just on that fact alone, Terence looking at it like, man, it ain't even worth my while because if a strap is involved, then I could have won another belt. So I could have put that on the line. I could have put my friendship on the line. I could have put whatever on the line. But because he's just coming off a loss, you got to do better if he know better. So that's where Terence Crawford is coming from. Meanwhile, the fans are saying, hey, listen, you can't get a big fight. Then you obviously have to take on the Porter opportunity. And that's where the people going off on Terence Crawford in the comment section. Yeah, they saying he lowballed Danny Garcia.
Yeah.
And that is true in a sense because a lot of people brought to my attention that, hey, listen, he offered Amir Khan $5 million guaranteed, plus the pay-per-view revenue was almost $7 million that he made. So if you think about it, they offered Danny Garcia $3 million, even though that was a bigger fight. So at the end of the day, you got to give Danny Garcia his fair shake, right? So Terence Crawford, on one hand, he fought Amir Khan. Amir Khan is not that, like, he wasn't coming off a big win. He got knocked out by Canelo.
When was the last time he's had a big win?
So like I said, he has to fight Porter just because of the fact that he fought Amir Khan. Like, he got to give Porter a shot. As long as Porter, like I said, is willing to sit down and talk with him and stuff like that. So in my opinion, Terence will fight Porter next because I remember when people said Postal, Crawford, he's scared of him. Guess what happened? Crawford fought him next. I remember when they said he's scared of Flex Diaz. Guess what happened? He fought Flex Diaz next.
Yeah,
I remember when Gamboa was still Gamboa and Mikey Garcia avoided him like Terence Crawford pointed out. Guess who fought him? Terence Crawford. So I feel like if Terence has no other options, if Danny Garcia's of the world won't fight him, I think he will fight a Porter, because at the end of the day, you can't blame Porter for going the Errol Spence route and not the Terence route, because obviously he fights for PBC. So it only makes sense to fight Errol Spence. And on the other hand, Danny Garcia the same way. He would rather fight Errol Spence because it's for 2 straps, is a bigger fight, than fight a Terence Crawford. Terence is a big fight too. However, that fight is harder to make for these guys because he's on the other side of the street. PBC rather make fights in-house.
Yeah, but didn't Crawford say there's no other side of the street? Right.
When it comes to business, it is.
I mean, that was my point. I don't. So one thing I just want to give a couple of shout outs, and one thing before I say that, I'm gonna holler at Bear Down. Is Amir Khan, like, I'm starting to lose a lot of respect for him. I had a lot of, because at 140, this guy was willing to take on anybody. But for some reason, this guy does not want to fight Kell Brook, which would be the big, like, why are you, and then he went, when they were about to negotiate for this fight, he went and took this money against Terence Crawford, and then, to me, embarrassed himself. Like I saw. All right, moving on to the point.
He sound like he about to get the Pacquiao fight, so he doing better than Crawford, ain't he? If he about to get the Pacquiao fight.
Tell me his last good win too. Who? So Amir Khan.
I know. I'm just saying, he getting paid.
So one is Bear Down says Crawfish gets hurt all the time. Danny, Porter, Ugas, and Enos stops Crawfish easy work.
Nah,
I want to respectfully disagree with that. I got him winning all of those fights.
I feel like the Ugas fight. I forgot about Ugas. I feel like Ugas is another great fight for Crawford if he can't get another big fight. Like if you can't get a Porter fight. Like I said, it's a lot of great names for Crawford to fight another unknown name fighter. Like Ray Robertson is a good fighter, but he don't belong in the ring with a Terence Crawford. Like we want to see Terence versus the upper launch of the welterweight division, and that's a Ugas, because Ugas. Top 5, in my opinion. Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Errol Spence, Manny Pacquiao. Obviously, Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao are out of the equation at the moment for his next fight.
Why is that, though? Like, why is... Because I want to give somebody some props. Like, why is Manny Pacquiao getting this pass? Like, why is Manny Pacquiao out of the question?
Because Pacquiao is with a PBC, and, like, I already know he ain't going to fight Terence. Because if he would have fought Terence, he would have fought Terence when he was with the
everybody we're talking
Bob
about
Arum.
is with PBC.
I'm talking about Manny Pacquiao and Terence Crawford.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Errol Spence, PBC, Danny Garcia, PBC, Porter, PBC, Ugas, all these guys are PBC. We can't use that as an excuse for Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, but I'm saying he was with Bob Arum. All these fighters
you make the fight.
I'm just saying, all these fighters are with Al Heyman. Meanwhile, Manny Pacquiao was with Bob Arum for years. And he had Terence Crawford too. So that fight could have been made when he was with Bob Arum. But Bob Arum, first of all, stated that he was trying to work on the fight. Then after Pacquiao left him, he stated that Pacquiao didn't want the fight. Then he flip-flopped and stated that Pacquiao, he stopped that fight from taking place because he cared about Pacquiao health. He didn't want Pacquiao to end up having a concussion fighting a Terence Crawford.
You believe that?
I'm just saying, like, that's what Bob Arum is saying. Like, and that's Terence Crawford promoter. So if he knows better, he should have did better and went to the PBC, like I said, for the millionth time. But apparently he got a good deal. I don't know if he got $100 million. That's what he deserved if he's gonna stay with ESPN. But if he didn't get like that type of a contract that Tyson Fury got to sign with ESPN, I don't know if he capping or not, but if he didn't get that type of a deal that Tyson Fury had at least, then I don't know why he's still with Bob Arum. But Bob Arum have them type of contracts that every time you fight on ESPN and fight for a belt, guess what happens? Your contract get extended. So that being said, Terence Crawford, if he know better, he should have did better. But at the end of the day, he still want to fight everybody. People are going off on him for not fighting for Porter, though. But I believe that will be his next fight because I don't think he could justify just fighting unknown fighter. Like his fight before this, people wanted him to fight Kell Brook. I don't know why that fell off. So
one thing before we move on to, I just want to give a shout out to Addie Singleton. Writes, if there is a such thing as other side of the street quotations, then how can Crawford fight Porter?
Well,
my exact point. And then other side of the street only seems to come up when Crawford mentions Spence. So I think that's an appropriate comment. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I don't know, because I don't know, like, are they siding with Terence, right? Like, they siding with Terence. Huh?
No, they're not siding with Terence. They're just saying. Well, I think they're just saying that
he basically saying it's like the only time it is brought up is when Errol Spence's name brought up, trying to like, oh, they making excuses for Errol Spence. Like, that's what I think.
And Manny Pacquiao.
Hold on. Can I speak to that? Because that sounds like it's directed toward me. First of all, that other side of the street does exist when it comes to business, because the PBC could care less what Terence wants, what Bob Arum wants, if they could make house fights in-house and make all the money, because Bob Arum he did the same thing for years. So now that they got the ball in their court, they're not going to look out for Bob Arum. It's business over everything. However, when it comes to fighters, they could fight each other if they want to. So obviously, that's what Terence is pointing out, that Wilder is fighting Fury when Fury's on ESPN. But you got to realize Fury has nobody to fight on ESPN. Wilder has nobody to fight on PBC side, because he don't fought everybody on that side. So it's kind of like, hey, they already cleaned out both of their sides. Errol Spence been saying from day one, I'm going to fight Porter, I'm going to fight Pacquiao, then I'm going to fight Terence. He never changed his energy. Matter of fact, even after the car crash, he came out still calling out Terence. And he already stated, which that's my next topic, that he want the Crawford fight and coming for the WBO strap 2020. So that's the next topic. As far as Terence, he's the one that's not looking too good at the moment, because people are saying, listen, the Porter fight is available. I mean, the Danny Garcia fight, you kind of lowballed him, but I don't know if Danny's interested or not, because he's saying they need him, he don't need them. So we all know it's the other way around, but it is what it is. So the main point is, there's a Ugas fight that's available. There's a Sean Porter fight that's available that we know for sure. There's the Errol Spence fight that's available down the line toward the end of the year. Manny Pacquiao don't want to smoke with Terence, stylistically and all that. Freddie Roach already came out and stated that Terence Crawford is like Mayweather with power in his prime. So you think he want to fight that version of Terence? Absolutely not. So I'm just saying, I don't want to waste my time talking about Pacquiao and Terence when I know for a fact that fight won't happen. Because if Pacquiao is going to fight somebody, he's going to fight Errol Spence coming off a car crash with 2 straps, who's seemed like the most popular out of the 2 at the moment. Even though Terence Crawford, every time he fights on ESPN, he holds the records of 2019 and 2018 of the highest views on any national television when it comes to the sport of boxing. So it ain't like he don't have the fan base. He needs the fights. However, he limiting himself staying with ESPN. So if he is, fight the Porters and the Usyk fights that's available. That's all I'm saying. So I'm sorry, Professor Nan, finish your point.
No, that's good. But I think this is a good time to kind of go on. But I
want to go on to the next topic.
I want to give just 2, because it was comments. You kind of heard me chuckle. One was Bear Down said Crawfish is no Mayweather or whatnot, and then another is from Classic Akhi. Classic Akhi. He said Bud letting his boy speak is weak AF. And I kind of said something similar to that. Yeah, so, I didn't like. Yeah, so I didn't like this proxy. He's using the proxy to talk.
Just to let it be known, y'all could call in. I left the number in the comment section. Y'all could leave a super chat if y'all want to ask us any questions, because there's a lot of comments. It's hard to keep up with it while we talking about the topics. Every round is a different topic. We're going 8 rounds today. There's a lot of topics. There's a lot of awards. So if y'all want us to mention if y'all got a question, any of that, just drop a super chat. I don't care if you even for 1 penny, we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, and then just one thing about because we kind of need to kind of regulate the phone calls a little bit. So we've got about a 2-minute limit. So when you get in, particularly if you just have a point to say, make sure that you get in here. But there is something that you do want to debate us about, or kind of bring that topic.
We could extend that.
Yeah, we can extend, but make sure that you first bring up the topic of debate, and then we'll allow that time. But if you want to just kind of give a shout out, we're limited to that to about 2 minutes, just to make sure that we can get more calls in and just keep the show flowing.
And last note, call in for talk and kind of basically stick with the topic. And right now we do have a call in. I'm about to pick up. Oh man, I hanged up. My bad. I'm about to pick up though. Hold on. My man, call again, my Akhi. Hold on. Hold on. Hello. What's up, Akhi? State who this is and where you calling from?
Akhi, what's going on? It's Sean Johnson. CT, what's going on, guys? What's going on, Professor?
Sean, what's good with you?
Oh, we doing great. Hey,
doing good. Happy New Year, brothers. Happy New Year.
2020, baby.
Happy to be on the show. Just I wanted to say real quick. I don't necessarily agree with the whole take on Bud's whole situation. Like, I feel the reason why he let his boy say something is because they was drinking, having a good time. His boy just wanted to get it off his chest how he felt. But Bud kind of kept the same energy, and he been saying all of the same stuff. Now, I agree with Akhi about the other side of the fence, you know, with business and everything like that. But listen, man, I'm from the old school. Two men want to fight, they're going to fight. No amount of money is going to stop it.
Absolutely.
So if they really want to fight, they're going to fight. And it's just like old school boxers. You know, if you want to see the best got to get in there and fight. And I hope they don't do that Mayweather Pacquiao bullshit and wait till dudes is like in diapers. And then they want to fight.
Right.
So
you know what I mean?
So how you feel about what Crawford friend had to say? Like, do you think that was just making excuses or what?
No, I don't think it was excuses. I feel like he had some good points of what he was saying. I mean, it was obviously some liquid courage involved, but I agree with some of the things he was saying because it's like a lot of dudes, you know, a lot of those guys were saying that they wanted to fight and everything like that. But I'm like, only person I see on camera saying they want to fight is Bud and Spence. On camera saying they want to fight.
Yeah. Exactly. So like,
Sean said if his father wants him to fight him that bad, he'll fight him. Sean never said he wanted to fight. He said if his father wanted him, if they want to make that fight, then he's willing to fight whoever. But he never really piped up and said, yeah, let's do it. Like, big deal. Like, if he did, I didn't see that. But that's just my take, guys. Thanks for letting me call in. Y'all have a great show.
Shout out to Sean Johnson.
I appreciate y'all too, man.
I appreciate it, Sean Johnson, for calling in. Obviously, Sean Porter, you know, he didn't call in, but we got the next best thing, and that's Sean Johnson, my man. Appreciate you for calling in. I see you showing love every time in the comment section. So he brought up a lot of great points, and that's the fact that Terence Crawford does want to smoke, and Porter, he never really went on camera and called out Terence directly, like, hey, I don't want to fight. Like, you keep saying this friendship-ish. Forget friendship. I want to fight for legacy. Like, if Porter did that, and it's like, oh, wow. Like, even though I believe Porter will do whatever Kenny Porter want him to do.
Yeah, I think everybody believes that.
So if Kenny says something, I'm pretty sure Sean Porter would not disagree just off the respect for Kenny, because it's his dad. Like, forget being the manager, forget being all that. Kenny, whatever he says, Sean Porter will follow. So I don't think he will say no, especially at the opportunity that he's about to face Terence. Because let's face it, it's a win-win situation for Sean, and it's a lose-lose situation for Bud. Meanwhile, Danny Garcia, people could keep saying he lowballing them and whatever. We'll send him an offer. How about that? Like, let's see Danny Garcia send Sean Porter a counter offer. I mean, not Sean Porter, I'm sorry. Terence Crawford, a counter offer. Then y'all could say, like, oh, yeah, he don't really want to fight with Danny. But we all know he want to fight Danny. Like, that's not even a question. Hello. What's up, Akhi? Hold on, let me make sure the Bluetooth is connected. I don't know. I can't hear you. Hello? Yeah, like, it's hard to hear you.
I don't think your Bluetooth's connected to it. It should be, though.
The Bluetooth not connected? Hold on. Oh, yeah, the Bluetooth ain't connected. How y'all doing? How you doing, Akhi? State your name and
where you from?
Hey, this is Bear Down, man. I'm from Chicago.
Bear Down. Shout out to Shy. What's up? I got family out there in Calumet. You know what I'm saying? South Chicago.
Oh, yeah. I'm from all my west. Hey, man, with this Crawford situation, man, I'm tired of this dude, man.
Who, Bud?
Every time this dude, Bud, Crawford, every time this dude get a fight, man, he get hurt. No matter who it is, they just keep on stopping this dude, bro. Ugas beat him in the amateur. He's
Yeah,
nobody.
true.
Who Ugas
I mean,
beat?
Ugas, but Ugas is a solid pro. But
I
also,
think
man,
Ugas will give him that work.
yeah, but if you seen Belly, man, don't tell me there ain't no gangsters in Omaha, right? Wasn't that where they was like?
Brother. Hear me out. I be at work, man. I listen to y'all every day at work, brother. And I'll be fucking, really, it's like, goddamn. I mean, I can't believe these people with this Crawford shit, man. He don't want to fight Porter because Porter will rush his ass up. He ain't gonna be able to stick his tongue out. He gonna get beat the fuck up. That's what it's gonna be.
So you favor Porter over Terence Crawford?
I take all.
He got 4 people over. He got 4 people over
all
Crawford.
of them.
He got Danny Garcia. He got Porter. He got Ugas, and he got Enos. He put Enos up there.
That's tough. I mean, I felt like Danny. I mean, he's good, but Terence would just work Danny Garcia, to be honest with you.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah, let me get his point.
Crawford. He's the perfect fighter, man. I ain't never seen no motherfucker with a beard who ain't got a beard. What I mean by that is a chin. Cannot take a punch, man. Too pretty. Gamboa. Man, when he fought Gamboa, see how far Gamboa was? You see what he did to him? Imagine, man.
Yeah, he got careless with Gamboa for sure, because he walked to a punch while his hands was down. But one thing for sure, the chin, the best chin in boxing is the one that don't get hit. And Terence does have good defense when he do focus on his defense. So I feel like
brother. I think all the top welterweights get hit. When he gets hit, the way he reacts to punches is not good. If you get into it with Spence, I swear before God, my witness.
He's not gonna stand there. He's gonna
8 rounds.
Yeah.
8 rounds.
8. You got the KO. You got the KO.
Punishment, and it's gonna never be the same.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see. So when Terence fight one of them guys, you're gonna have to call in, and we're gonna have to see on that, because I got Terence beating most of them guys that you named, other than Errol probably.
I'm sorry, I don't see it. I would never put my money against those guys. Not on this dude. Did you see Mean Machine? What did you see Mean Machine?
We saw. Yeah, he definitely got hurt. He got dropped. It wasn't counted, but he got hurt. He got dropped.
I can't take no more of this.
Yeah.
Kyle was touching him. Benavidez on one leg touching him. Come on, man. No, brother. I can't.
He definitely he definitely shows some kinks in the armor, but like I like to give people credit for when they are able to adjust and do that. And plus, I like Crawford because he goes for the kill every time. Like he doesn't want a decision.
Regardless if he got hurt against Mean Machine, guess what happened? Like he broke the Mean Machine right after. You feel me? So like. Terence definitely has meanness in him, and I don't think he would let a guy like Danny dog him, or even Akhi Thurman, even Ugas. Like I mean, I know Terence Crawford lost to Saddam Ali, and that's my guy in the amateurs as well when he went to the Olympics. But even Saddam Ali stated that Terence Crawford is a different fighter now. So I believe Terence improved over the years, and a fight with Danny or Ugas or anybody, really, I would favor Terence. But I do see your perspective. So like I said, appreciate it for calling in. And my man, make sure you call in every show, all right?
Man, appreciate it. Bear down from Chi-Town, man. Appreciate it, bro.
All right, appreciate it, Akhi.
All right, so
we're gonna go ahead and jump into the next topic, and once we talk about the next topic, we're gonna take calls toward the next topic. Now, Errol Spence came out and he retweeted and on Instagram posted a story of stating like basically, hey, listen, I'm coming for that strap 2020, the WBO strap, not the WBA, because we don't know if Manny Pacquiao is willing to put that on the line or not, but that WBO strap, where is it at? It's right there on your side. Yeah. Hey, the Errol, the truth is already over there. He lurking. He looking for that smoke. So he's saying 2020, he want to make it happen. So do you see that fight taking place 2020 toward the late parts of 2020, like December, for example? If he faces somebody in May or June, and then maybe another fight in 2020 December against Terence, can you see that taking place?
I'm gonna say no. I don't see it at all. I think it's too many politics. I want to see what kind of condition that Spence is in. I mean, they've said, I don't think there's been videotape of him actually doing any sparring or whatnot. So he looked fairly good, but I think he's gonna have to. First off, he's gonna have to let his body heal He's gonna have to lose substantial weight. I'm guessing that he's probably creeping around 200 pounds right now. And to fight somebody of the caliber of Crawford, I think his handlers are gonna advise him against it. And then plus, just because it's Bob Arum, he's gonna just throw a wrinkle into it.
We have a super chat from Steven Martinez donating to the channel for the first time. I appreciate it, Akhi, and you best believe, we appreciate it every time you tune in. Donate to the channel, support the movement, and Martinez call in too. We want to talk to you as well. So shout out to Steven Martinez, and if you have a question, like I said, always ask the question and donate it. Throw a super chat, and we're gonna talk about it. So we're gonna take calls. We're gonna take calls right after this topic. So we're going to finish this topic, me and Professor Nam, and the people that call me, because I'm getting like 5 calls, 6, 7, and they racking up. So I'm going to call y'all one by one. So when I do call y'all back, pick up, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, and then
so
also,
finish your point. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
We'll also have kind of a time window. We'll try to get through kind of like the topic and then open it up for you to comment about that topic, but towards the end for that. But that's, That's pretty much where I think that fight's gonna stand at this point. Part of me is just I'm being a little cynical.
I missed it. Did you say 2020?
I think 2021. I think part of me just being cynical. I just don't think that the powers that be are gonna let this happen that fast. But I still think though, and I'm not trying to go out there like Manny Pacquiao fans. It's just that through all of this, he is getting a pass for some reason. He's a welterweight champion. Like his name should be in that pool in there. And fighting Amir Khan is a total cop out. This guy hasn't had a significant win over a welterweight in I can't even name
You're talking
one.
About Bud,
Amir
right?
Khan. No, Amir Khan.
Yeah, but I'm saying you're talking about Bud fighting Amir Khan, right?
No, I'm talking about Manny Pacquiao. I threw him in there. Because he's negotiating right here with him right now. Because Manny Pacquiao, Amir Khan still has a fan base.
We don't know for sure. He might fight Errol Spence next. You never know who Manny fight next. So we're not 100% sure, but the rumors are that Manny Pacquiao is fighting Amir Khan.
That sounds like it's true.
In Dubai. So we'll see, or in Saudi Arabia. However, as far as Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford, man, that's a hell of a fight. However, I have to see how Errol Spence looks before I talk about him and Terence, because obviously when you go against, pound for pound number one type of fighter like Bud, you got to be 100% ready. I feel like Errol Spence is the truth. I feel like Errol Spence is ready for any challenge as long he's back 100%. So if he do fight Danny Garcia or Manny Pacquiao next, where he treating them like tune-ups, Errol Spence already said it best. He said they don't like the fact that I'm back. So I want Danny next. I don't want no tune-up because Danny's about to be his tune-up basically. So if he fight a Danny,
that's a good tune-up,
and he wins in an impressive fashion like how he used to look, which I'm pretty sure that's how he's going to come back and look, because he knows better. He's not going to rush in to box and go in that square circle, a square ring, I meant, and if he's not 100%. So if he does, the fight might take place 2020. He even retweeted Champ Size stating that as well. However, like I said, the business of boxing might be in the way, so it might take place 2021. So he might end up fighting a Virgil Ortiz till then, or maybe a Keith Thurman, because Errol Spence have so many choices. Like Terence Crawford, the longer he wait, the longer it's harder for him. It makes him look bad, because then he got to fight a Porter or somebody, right? Errol Spence stays fighting big names because he fought Mikey Garcia on pay-per-view. He fought Sean Porter on pay-per-view. Now he about to fight Danny Garcia on pay-per-view. Manny Pacquiao could be next. Then maybe a Keith Thurman. Like I said, nobody's going to complain about either one of them fights if the Terence Crawford fight don't take place. So Terence has to keep his name in the media by not just calling out the best, because that's what he's doing as well. However, he has to fight the likes of Porters. He has to fight the likes of Ugas, because that's the names that are respected in the welterweight division. So if he does that, then the pressure will be too much, and the PBC is going to have to make that fight happen. But if he don't, then they're going to basically make Errol Spence create leverage by fighting all these great fighters from Mikey to Danny to Pacquiao and become such an A side, then he's gonna have all the leverage. Maybe they don't even do joint network no more. He probably end up being such an A side, he gonna have to come see him on Showtime. I mean on Fox, right? Like he could get to that point. If he beat a Manny Pacquiao, you know how much of a star he's gonna end up becoming. So that's why Terence can waste no time, because Terence stated on the live that, like, I don't got to go to Al Heyman or PBC. I could stick here with ESPN and fights could still get made. But what he don't realize is, yeah, you could do that. But if you want to be put in a position like Errol Spence was, where he was the most feared and got all these big fights from Mikey to Sean Porter and even Danny Garcia now, because the tables turned. They didn't want to fight him, but the table turned. Now they got to come see him because he's the A side. He's the man of the division. He's the money man of the division. If you want to put yourself in that position, you should have went to the PBC, and you definitely will have had the same opportunities that Errol Spence had. But because you were obviously the enemy when it comes to business, PBC is not going to look out for your sake. They're going to try to build their fighters and have the leverage on their side. Now, Sean Porter probably end up getting a 50-50 deal fighting Terence Crawford. Or even at Danny Garcia. When it looks like, wow, like they don't even got straps and they get 50-50 deals fighting Terence.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen.
What?
He's still number one pound for pound, and he holds a belt. Well, why wouldn't he have
Well,
leverage?
I'm saying, Bob, the way he was talking about the fight, he was kind of saying, like, Sean Porter, absolutely not. I would not put my guy versus Sean Porter. But then, now, the way he's talking about it, he stated, like, I didn't even know Kenny Porter was calling us out. I'm going to make the call happen. Like, Bob Arum, after seeing the interest that the fans and the hardcore fans want to see Sean Porter in there with Terence, he's like, you know what? I'm going to make it happen. Meanwhile, Terence is the one that's kind of like, nah, that's my friend. I don't want that fight at the moment unless it's for all glory and all that, all the straps. And that's obviously not the case. So since that's the case, Terence, like I said, has to take on any opportunity he sees available. Because Errol Spence, on the other hand, he been doing exactly what he been preaching. And that's what Terence stated as well. He was like, you know what? Errol Spence, he ain't lied to me. He said that I'm collecting all these straps on my side, then I'm going to come see you. So any last take on that before we take on a call?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little kind of tired of kind of talking about it because it's we talk about this in hypotheticals, and like I don't want to get into this notion where we're speaking about this 4 years down the line. So with that said,
4 years.
I mean, that's what happened with Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. So
well, we know that was Manny Pacquiao's fault because Manny, he didn't want to take that drug test for $50 million. You know what I mean?
No,
so
but who was Manny's promoter at the time?
Bob Arum.
It was Bob Arum.
And that's what he did to Tyson Fury because he was supposed to fight Wilder again.
Well, no, I mean, I give them credit. They fought in their prime. I don't want to. That's
no,
why
but I'm talking about Wilder and Fury was supposed to fight right away, and I think Fury wasn't supposed to have a tune-up fights, and then Bob Arum snatched Fury from Wilder and the PBC, which is a good business move. But
That's and they making the fight happen. But
still he took two tune-up fights, and that's because obviously Tyson Fury don't have nobody to fight on his side. He need a Wilder. Meanwhile, Terence Crawford, Bob Arum looking at it, as long as I get this Errol Spence fight for Terence, I'm making all the money that I'm missing out on at the moment. All these fights at the welterweight division. As long as I make the Terence versus Errol Spence fight in the future, I will make up all the money I lost. I don't care, regardless of what the PBC is making at the welterweight division. All these exciting fights, as long as Terence fights Errol, I will end up making back all the money I invested in Terence.
All right,
so I'm gonna go ahead.
So
I'm gonna go ahead and take a call because I got a lot of people calling me.
Well, yeah, Tommy Renfro, we need to hit him because he's a super chat.
What he say? What he say on the super chat?
He wants to drop a line about this. I think he might have some insight. So,
hold on. Where's my man?
Tommy
Hold
Renfro, if you could go ahead and call in now.
Tommy, make sure you call in. Hey, what's your zip code so I could pick it? What's your zip code? Let me know what's your zip code. Drop it in the comment section so I could, as soon as you call in, I know what time it is with you. So I'm gonna go ahead and call my man. Yeah, I need to know his zip code though.
Yeah, so
Tommy, make sure you
Tommy,
drop the
definitely drop your zip code because we want to make sure that we get your call in.
Yeah. So whenever Tommy does drop the comment, let me know and I'll pick it up. For the moment, I'm gonna call my man that called in. Yeah, so you could speak or reply to the comments for the moment.
All right, so Serrano Boxing, yeah. So we started at okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead, I'll let you take the call.
What's up, fam? How you doing, Akhi? State your name and where you calling from.
I'm calling from Washington, D.C., man. My name's Donald Payne.
What's good?
What's good?
Yeah, man, I just wanted to state the fact that if he really wanted all the smoke, why did he re-sign with Top Rank?
If if somebody can answer that question, if somebody can answer that question,
OGs that got away from Top Rank made all the money and they made all the fights that they won.
So you saying you saying why did Terence re-sign with Top Rank, right?
if he wanted all the smoke,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's a legitimate
All the
question.
smoke, why did he do that? All the OGs that got away from Bob, they got all the money and they got all the fights.
That's the $1 million question, fam. That's the $1 million question. That's what we've been questioning Terence Crawford business decisions of late. And I've been telling everybody that's been listening that Terence made the wrong decision by re-signing with Top Rank. But I did hear that Top Rank got you under a contract where every time you fight, like let's say you fight for a belt, your contract get extended. So I don't know how easy it is for him to leave Top Rank, for example, because remember when Mikey Garcia did try to leave Top Rank, he ended up having to go for 2 years without fighting any fights because of the illegal issues they had, and they had to settle in court. So ain't no telling. But yeah, you can finish your thoughts.
Yeah, man, that's basically just, I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, that was a great point.
No, I mean those are facts. We appreciate that in there, but good look, man. DC represent.
Hold on, DC. Before you go, you gotta let it be known. So you saying he re-signed because he don't want the smoke? Is that what you saying, fam?
That's basically.
If you want to sum it up,
He even pointed it out. He pointed it out. How Tim Bradley talking all that trash. He ain't never fight no PBC fighter.
Okay, yeah, that's facts. He didn't.
PBC the fighter that Bradley fight.
Yeah, and he retired when Errol Spence wanted to smoke, and obviously the WBC ordered that fight to take place.
Nah, he didn't want that smoke.
It seemed like he want all the other guys to do all the work. What work has he done in the welterweight division?
Yep, I agree with you 100% on that, on Timothy Bradley. But as far as Terence,
he's trying to reap the benefits.
All right, that's good. So we're actually going to get to
the next caller.
To Tommy. Let's call Tommy back because he's at 360. So
appreciate you for calling, Akhi. Any last words? Let it be known.
No doubt. That's it. That's
all right. Appreciate it, Akhi.
Appreciate the love. All right, so Tommy, look out for you. We are giving you a call back. So it's
we call you back.
360 number. And then Michelle, thank you for smash the like button. Oh. Hey, Tommy, where you from?
Akhi, what's up, fam? Where you calling from?
Hey, I'm calling from Vancouver, Washington.
What's good? West Coast. Yes, sir.
Not much, man. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we doing great. Appreciate the super chat, first of all, and appreciate you for calling in, Akhi, and tuning in. I really appreciate it.
So, Tommy, you said you had a little bit of insight on this whole dilemma that you can provide to us.
Yeah, so look, I listen to your guys' podcasts and stuff all the time. It's just like I don't really like how I don't know. I feel like everyone's kind of hating on Bud, saying he's ducking certain people and it has to do with the politics of the networks and stuff like that. It's just you're the pound for pound number one, and it seems like every time Bud fights, it's the most viewed fight of the year. You know what I mean? So I think he's bringing in numbers, he's bringing in the money. I don't understand why these dudes on the PBC side aren't fighting them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got a belt. I just don't understand it. I guess you could say it's the politics, but
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Is because Terence Crawford, regardless of what people say, he's a high reward, but he's even a higher risk. So obviously they're gonna get paid well, but if they do fight him, he gonna end up possibly beating them. They don't like their chances of beating him. So if they're gonna fight him, they want it to be for all marvels. Like basically, it has to be for all the money in the world, so it could be worth the risk. Yeah, so that's kind of part of the reason, and part of it is because he's on the ESPN side, so it's easily an excuse they can make, like, hey, you know what, he's on the other side of the street. That's obviously a route they could take instead of saying, oh, they didn't offer me enough money. Oh, he's on the other side of the street. But I do agree with you. Terence, like I said, he every time he fights, he does the highest ratings on TV, and he's not even fighting the Sean Porters of the world or like the name fighters. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, and it's kind of frustrating seeing it because, like, I love boxing. I follow it so much, dude, and, like, I want to see the best fight the best. I want to see Bud get in there and fight Spence, and in my opinion, I actually believe he clears out the whole welterweight division. I don't think
who does?
Terence.
Terence.
He got Terence clean out.
Okay, I got you.
I think Terence cleans out that whole division, man. I really do.
And
everyone at welterweight so far, and the whole thing with this Sean Porter fight too is another thing. We're talking about the topics we talked about before, but it's just I don't understand why Porter's name got dropped and everyone's saying he needs to fight Porter. Porter's coming off a loss. His best win is against Danny Garcia, and it's just like every time Sean Porter steps up to like an A-level caliber fighter, he can't go through. He can't pull through and get.
That's
a
a
win,
great point.
I mean?
Hey, take these cats to school, fam. Take these cats to school. Keep going.
But it's good because it seems that you. Go ahead, Tommy.
He's coming off a loss, man. Why would Bud want to fight a dude if he's trying to unify? Why would he want to fight Errol Spence, his leftover? He just got done beating what's his name, Porter. Why would he want to hop in there with the dude that's coming off a loss, man? Like,
so Tommy, who would you like to see him fight right now?
Right now, Errol Spence hurt, so I'd like to see him unify. Why? If Manny Pacquiao, he wants to hold on to a belt.
So Manny Pacquiao, yeah, he's been
okay, but let's be.
I know he ain't gonna get in there with Bud Crawford, but it's just like it's stupid, man. Those are the fights we want to see, though, man. We want to see unification. We want to see who's the best in the division. So Pacquiao should just give up the belt then if he doesn't want to fight any of the top dogs. Instead of holding on to it.
That's what I've been saying too. That's what we on the same page. That's what I've been saying, but. Let's be realistic because we know Manny's not going to fight Terence because he wasn't interested back then and he's not interested now.
We'll take his belt.
So let's say, let's talk about who's available and who he really could fight next. So that's a Porter. Obviously, you're saying Porter's coming off a loss, this and that. So how about Ugas or maybe Danny, but Danny probably end up fighting Errol Spence. So that's a better opponent, or not even a better opponent. It's like a bigger fight for Danny because he fighting against Errol Spence, who has 2 straps. But who you think realistically is gonna be Terrence's next opponent? Because me personally, after all this Porter fight, after all this Porter talk, I think he's gonna fight Porter next because I feel like he's just gonna be like, you know what? All these people keep hyping up Porter. It is what it is. What's your take?
I would agree with that. More likely, I feel like it's gonna be Porter, but I feel like Crawford knows, like, hey, it's not like it's not the fight I want, but it gets me to fight all these other PVC dudes, and but I don't like that fight. I mean, Porter's a bigger name than Ugas, but me personally, as a boxing fan, I'd rather see him fight Ugas, who's coming off a win. I think he fucked up. What's his name?
Yeah, Porter.
Omar.
Omar.
Oh yeah, he beat Porter in my opinion too. He beat Porter. I felt like he edged the Porter fight, and then he beat Omar.
He gave Porter that work.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I think that would be a tough fight for him, but I'd rather see that than a Porter fight. Porter's coming off a loss, but realistically, I don't know why everyone's like not on Danny Garcia's head because he's fighting Ivan Redcash. I'm not familiar with him.
He's all right. Watch this. He has a pretty good.
Danny, Danny said he don't need them; they need him. So, but it's funny. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Danny
delusional.
That's a delusional statement. But just to point this out, I remember Floyd Mayweather, right, when he was pound for pound #1. Everybody claimed that they want to fight Floyd Mayweather because they really could beat him, and it's not the money; it's the fact that they won the pound for pound #1 status. Now, Terence Crawford is pound for pound #1 in a lot of people's list, including new media, right? So if that's the case, how come they don't chase Terence Crawford the way they chased Floyd Money Mayweather, right? When Floyd became Money May, it shows that if Floyd Mayweather he never got to the Money May stage and he stayed as popular as Pretty Boy, they never would have fought at him, because it's a matter of they don't like your style because they can't beat you and they have to use all these code words and excuses instead of saying, hey, you know, is actually the money. You know, they just wanted to fight Floyd because of the money, not because of the legacy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could finish your point.
I hear you on that, but it's just like for Bud now, because Mayweather, when he became Money May, he was like at 140, 147, maybe even 154 for a little bit too for a couple fights. You know, he is a smaller dude naturally, so some of these bigger dudes in weight classes are probably like, yeah, maybe I could rough him up. But Floyd's so slick that he just outboxed him, man. As he got older too, he just outboxed him. But right now for Crawford, he's at 147, his third weight division. He's stopping every dude in there so far, man, that they throw him in there with. So I see Garcia ducking him specifically because, you know, Crawford would work him. Crawford would fuck.
I agree with that.
Honestly, I think Crawford would stop him, to be honest with you. And Garcia's a tough dude. I haven't seen him get dropped or anything. I've seen him hurt, but
he definitely outboxed him. Terence will definitely school him all day. He would take him to the Akhi University for sure, like you taking these casual fans to the Akhi University, fam. So I appreciate you calling, Tommy. We got a lot of people calling in, and we got to get to the next couple topics. So you could call in toward the end of the show. We're going to have accept all the call-ins and stuff like that. And I always appreciate you for tuning in. And like I said, man, you got a lot of boxing knowledge, so you definitely Akhi all day.
Yeah. I appreciate it. So
Any
I just want to give
any last thoughts?
No, man. It's just I'm kind of frustrated with the whole Crawford. I think he's the best, man. I just want to see him fight the best.
I got
you. Hey guys, thanks for having me on. You guys have a good one. All right.
Appreciate
it.
So we got somebody who doesn't necessarily agree with Bear Down, so who thinks that Crawford is 4 people in the division that take him out. And then we got Tommy, who thinks that Crawford will take out the division. So a bit of a split decision there. We want to give a shout out to OG Swag. Thanks for the super chat. Please drop your area code, and then we'll try to get you in. Also, I want to give
what did he say in the super chat? Did he OG Swag, that's my man. OG Swag, appreciate the love, fam. Hey, that's an Akhi right there. Y'all know what Akhi stand for, is my brother, and that's definitely my brother, OG Swag. So, hey, OG Swag, I want to talk to you, so definitely call in.
So I also want to give I want to give a shout out, because we don't get a lot of ladies on here, and I appreciate the female boxing aficionados. So Michelle Bucard, who's calling from a 207 area code. If you get this, give us a call in. We definitely want to hear from you. But it's about that time to get to the end of the...
Let's get to the next topic.
Yeah.
So I believe the next topic is AJ. Make sure you look out for OG Swag if he does drop his number or anything like that.
I'm looking.
So Bradley came out and he stated that Usyk beat AJ 2020. They had the roundtable thing with ESPN and Andre Ward, and Andre Ward basically was saying 2020 AJ is going to fight the winner of Wilder and Tyson Fury. He's going to be an undisputed heavyweight champion. And then Bradley and another personality during the whole segment stated that Usyk is going to defeat AJ. So first of all, Professor Nim, you agree with that statement? Do you think Usyk presents any trouble for AJ? In my opinion, the way he looked his last fight against Witherspoon, a guy that's took a fight on a 1 week notice, if that, and was losing since 2012, and he got knocked out time and time again, and he struggled against that guy. He didn't really struggle, but he was getting caught by a lot of right hands. So we definitely know he ain't ready for a Wilder. But even AJ, the way he performed against Ruiz in the rematch, people could say whatever they want because they give him a hard time for not fighting Wilder and not wanting to smoke with Wilder. But as far as his skill level, the man could fight, man. The man, let's not act like Usyk will defeat him. You know, Usyk is like a poor version of Lomachenko at the heavyweight division. However, he's not as elusive because they heavier set, and I don't know if he's as talented. But one thing for sure, he's the undisputed cruiserweight champion, or the former cruiserweight champion. But against AJ, a 6'6" foot fighter with 30 pounds. Man, that's not an easy task. Like, I see him getting tattooed because you remember Tony, when they fought at the cruiserweight, he was outboxing this dude. And you think he gonna fight AJ and be able to come back? Hell no. Excuse my language, but I'm just saying I don't see Usyk being AJ. I could see him giving AJ a little puzzle that he has to solve, and if he's not ready mentally like he was for Ruiz when he overlooked him, he could end up losing. But if he come prepared, man, that ain't gonna happen. And after the Ruiz experience, where I believe it taught AJ to realize, hey, I can't afford to slip up any time of the day, because all these heavyweights they wanna get my spot, they wanna take my throne. So I have to be ready at all time. I feel like that's a lesson he learned. So I don't think he's going to make that mistake again. So what's your take on that? Because I have AJ either knocking out Usyk, welcoming him to the heavyweight division, or winning comfortably, very comfortably, as long he's prepared 100%. What's your take on that and what Timothy Bradley had to say?
Yeah, I think Timothy's kind of capping a bit, just kind of maybe stir up some. But Usyk has a lot of good qualities. I will say that. I think that he at least poses, I think I like your phrasing, he at least poses an interesting puzzle. Because one thing you got to understand is that when you're a heavyweight boxer, you don't face a lot of southpaws at all. In fact, Lennox Lewis went through his whole career without facing a southpaw. And he sparred with them, but he didn't. So just that, looking at that angle and having to deal with that, that's something that you do have to consider. He's pretty slick. I think he has really good feet. I think in the end that AJ's, not only his boxing acumen, but just his physical advantages that he has are going to overcome, and probably a late round stoppage. But I think it's an interesting fight. I don't think it's something that we should.
Is Teddy Atlas' influence on Bradley is getting to him too much? Because, man, he making comments like this, and you got to realize Usyk is Lomachenko's best friend. So I don't know, maybe he can fight, but
he's undefeated, and he's only one of two people.
I could fight. You could fight. You got two golden gloves.
But I wasn't undisputed in my division.
I'm just saying anybody could fight. I'm talking about in the heavyweight division. You need to have more qualities than you could fight, because it's just it's such a huge gap in weight. Like in the cruiserweight division, okay, there's a limit. You come at 200 pounds. Heavyweight, man, there's super heavyweights. You got to compete with that. Usyk is not ready for that. His skill is up there. I'm not questioning that. But his power, his speed is not up there. He's a combination puncher more so. His single punches don't do no damage like that. And you got to realize that he's going up against super heavyweights that could punch, that could also box, that probably is not as skilled as him. But the skill level is such a big gap in the weight that the skill won't matter. Skill pay the bills, but is he as skilled as Lomachenko? I don't think he is, especially not at the heavyweight division. He's not as mobile. So I don't think that, his skill's gonna separate himself between him and AJ, because even if we fight Wilder, he got way more skills than Wilder, doesn't he? But he will get slept.
Yeah, but Wilder might be the hardest puncher ever.
He is, yeah.
But at the same, I don't buy that much into the weight factor.
So what is it then?
AJ was at his lowest weight, I think, when he fought old boy weights almost 307 pounds, and then Wilder,
was fat, man.
His best fighting weight is around 220.
But that was fat. But I'm saying Wilder he's fighting at heavyweight. He used to heavyweights, and he have that power that is an eraser. AJ, on the other hand, he's a big heavyweight. He has good skill, good power, good speed. Meanwhile, Usyk is not bringing a lot to the table.
He's southpaw. The only top southpaws that we know is Ortiz, who gives everybody trouble, and then Usyk. So you gotta, if you don't see that picture a lot, and then who moves like Usyk in the heavyweight division?
I feel like Ortiz sleeps Usyk.
Yeah, but
I feel like
you throwing a different.
Let's
just talk about Usyk and AJ.
That's how I feel. Like, I don't think Usyk is that good to be compared to an AJ or Wilder in the sense like, oh, he gonna upset them. I don't think he that much of a threat. I feel like he's a mandatory. He's a bug in your ear that you got to squash if it gets in your way, like Wilder like to say. But I don't think he's like that big of a deal. However, AJ is talking about vacating a strap. We don't know if it's the Pulev strap or the Usyk strap, the WBO, the IBF. We don't know which one it is. Why you think he came out making them statements saying that he gonna do it for the greater good? Is you saying you're gonna fight Wilder? Because if he fight Wilder and vacate the strap, we could care less. We know who the real champion is. It's still gonna be considered undisputed. But I'm talking about if you don't fight Wilder or the winner of Wilder versus Fury and you give up a strap, then how is it for the greater good?
Because, I mean, I think when you get to a certain point is that you are the belt. And then so these sanctioning bodies, they're corrupt. They try to get you to kind of do these things. So basically, by him doing that, it gives him leverage. It just saying, you know what? You want to take this strap? Fine. I'll go back and get it. But it also lets you know that, hey, I'm bigger than the strap. Because even if I don't have it per se, that I'm still going to be recognized as at least a champion within this division. And if you want to take it away and I don't have to pay that sanctioning fee, fine. I
agree with you on that 100%. However, you got to keep in mind when you are mandatory, you have to pay. I mean, if I'm a champion and you my mandatory, you get 25%, I get 75%. That's how it usually goes. If obviously the champ is the A side, and if this fighter is not like a Canelo, for example, because even Canelo after a loss and he's a mandatory, he probably get a 50-50 split, right? Mm-hmm. But my point is, as a champion, you get 75% of the split. The mandatory get 25. He probably don't like them odds. He probably want to give a Usyk or a Pulev 10%, 15%. Is he really going to give them that low of a purse? Because if they win a championship belt, if they do have a strap now, then they could use the strap as a leverage. Look, I'm a champion. Yeah, that's your strap, but even the straps that you have aren't your straps because those are Tyson Fury straps. So you got them Tyson Fury vacant straps, and now you're claiming you're the real champion. I got straps just like you do. So at the end of the day, I want my cut. I want 30%, just like Joseph Parker did when he got 33%. So like I said, I don't know how much of it is a money leverage, but we'll see. Like I said, if he gonna vacate a strap, because he making a big deal that he have these 4 straps. He missing the WBC. He making a big deal from these straps. So it will be a bad look for him to vacate a strap now. When you a fight away from winning the undisputed, if you fight Wilder or Fury winner, you know what I'm saying? So it's not a good look, because what's the point of making this move? Because let's say he does fight a Wilder and vacate a strap. That's okay. But if you vacate a strap and you don't fight a Wilder or a Fury, it don't make sense. Now, next topic, AJ stated that the Wilder fight will happen 2020. He wants that fight. He really want the Wilder fight more than the Fury fight. He kind of backtracked his last statements because he stated he won the Tyson Fury prior, but now he's saying he won the Wilder. He said he will knock out Wilder. He will go for the knockout. What's up, man? Is AJ coming for that smoke? Is he really coming for that strap? Is he really knocking out my man Wilder?
I mean, I don't. It seemed like I feel like we had this conversation before.
We did.
I'm like, one thing I want to say before I answer is that so SSB28 says, how can they be Fury straps when they changed hands 2 times already? So Fury is recognized as the Lineal champion. So that means the man.
It ain't even the Lineal, man. It's the fact that he beat Klitschko. He beat Klitschko, and Klitschko had all the straps.
I know,
so
but like
that's his straps.
Like that's what made him the Lineal champion.
Oh no, the Lineal is another title, I think.
No, it's not. Lineal champion is the man who beat the man who beat the man who beat the man. So Tyson Fury's the man right now. Yeah, he's a Lineal champion. So when he beat Klitschko, he became the recognized heavyweight champion. But he didn't fight for 2 years after that. Right?
Why?
He went on. He tested
positive for PEDs.
Cocaine.
No, PEDs
and cocaine.
And cocaine.
Regardless, he didn't fight for 2 years, and he never. The reason that they say that we can kind of say that is that he never lost those straps actually in the ring. They took them away from him because he retired. Like, he went away. You can't be champ emeritus the whole time. So they took those straps away, and then they just kind of dispersed them on there, and then so people have been fighting for them and doing that. But if you think about it, Tyson never lost his championships in the ring. I just want to make that point.
And since we on split decision, we can't ignore the truth. And the whole truth is Tyson Fury tested positive for PEDs. He claimed that was a UK, whatever they call it in the UK, mistake like they did for Dillian White, which we don't buy that because Dillian White got busted more than once, right? So he got busted for PEDs and kind of used the drug thing as a cover-up. So maybe it was a cover-up. Maybe UConn messed up, but I don't believe they messed up. I believe it was maybe a mistake by Tyson Fury himself doing the wrong thing. But you live and you learn. Hopefully Tyson Fury could rewrite his wrong. He definitely is doing that by fighting Wilder for the second time. He messed up the recipe because the first time he fought Wilder, a lot of boxing fans gave him the credit, but then he kind of for the rematch, he was looking for a way out, and then he messed up the recipe because people was on his side. Now he fighting Wilder again. Now people on Wilder's side again because Wilder fought Ortiz for the second time while Tyson Fury too busy fighting unranked and unknown opponents. So Wilder for the moment, like I said, AJ could say that he gonna look for the knockout against Wilder, but Wilder, two ways you could beat him. You go in the ring and knock him out in the first or two. In the second round, you got to go for the knockout from round one. Or you outbox him and not get touched. And if you box, you're going to get hit just like you swim and you're going to get wet. And sometimes when you're swimming, let's say you don't want to swim, right? You get your feet wet or like you get a splash from the water. You know what I'm saying? That's all it takes from Wilder. It's that little splash that could knock you out because Wilder does hit that hard. So when people saying they're going to knock out Wilder like Tyson Fury, like AJ, we don't believe that because we really got to see it. Because I know when the bell going to ring, man, I think they're going to be moving around the ring. So if AJ means it, I would love to see it because if he could pull that off, that's some legendary-ish. To knock out Wilder, to go for the knockout against the hardest hitter of all time, when you is not as mobile as a Tyson. When I say Tyson Fury, I mean both of the Tyson Furies. Like you're not as mobile as Tyson Fury when you moving, or as Mike Tyson, the one and only Mike, when you going forward because you don't have that type of head movement. So I don't see that by AJ. I just see AJ trying to win a unanimous decision. And if he could hurt Wilder doing so and possibly take him out, he will. But I don't think he will take that risk. So what's your take on it before we jump to the next subject?
Man, I think he's saying what he's supposed to say. I like any heavyweight who says that I want to knock this guy out, not that I'm going to outbox him and win the unanimous decision. All right, but I think it's cap. I think the only thing that I want to see these boxers do, the ones who are kind of circle around each other, is just go to your promoter and be like, I want to fight this guy, make it happen. Get this guy in the ring with me. Everything else, as you're trying to paint a perception of yourself in the media, like I just don't have a lot of energy for it. I get kind of bored talking about it.
Action speak louder than words. I believe that's the perfect definition of that. So we about to go to the awards of 2020 because obviously 2019 is over with. So split decision awards, we're gonna go over it. However, if y'all want to call in, if somebody want to call in and discuss the last topic we talked about, and that's AJ and Wilder, please call in before we hop into the next subject because once we do, we are going in. So make sure y'all call in right now as I speak if y'all want to talk about the Wilder versus AJ because I did miss some of the calls. However, so somebody want to call in right now, I'm gonna give them the chance to before I hop into the next subject.
Yeah,
so you can read a couple of the comments.
So we get somebody's talking about the Lineal Championship. You think about this, the Lineal Championship is this kind of mythological kind of thing. It's not something that they have. And then one person wrote that you have to officially still have all the belts to be lineal. That's not true necessarily. So like, what if somebody goes and wins all the belts, right? And then they have this corrupt sanctioning body to be like, hey, you need to fight this mandatory, or we're gonna take your belt when there's this other fight that's on there. You was just like, nah, I just won the championship. Like I want to do that. If they go and take that, that's right. You've been stripped really based off nothing that you have done in the ring. So people like to recognize like the man who beat the man who beat the man. So the easiest division that I like to give an example of that is the middleweight division. Okay. So in the middleweight division, the champion was clearly Bernard Hopkins. Even though, so he became undisputed. By the time, there were some other belts out there, but they had the tournament. He knocked out Felix Trinidad. He was the undisputed champion. And then he got beat by Jermaine Taylor from Arkansas, right? He became the lineal champion. Then he got beat by Kelly Pavlik. He became the lineal champion. Then he got beat by Sergio Martinez. He became the lineal champion. Sergio Martinez got beat by...
Yeah, but Martinez got beat by Cotto.
Canelo beat Cotto. And then, so that's why people they were still classifying Canelo as the lineal champion, even if he didn't have all the belts, because he beat the man who beat the man who beat the man.
All right, we got a caller on the phone. Akhi, can you hear us? State your name or where you calling from?
This is Jaden Smith calling from Jersey.
Okay, Jaden Smith, how you doing? What you want to talk about?
Dirty Jers.
Well, I was actually calling to touch on the Errol Spence, but you guys changed the topic, so I don't know if...
Yeah, you could go ahead. You got 2 minutes. You could state your thoughts.
Basically, I was hearing the guy call. He inspired me to call when he was like, Terence Crawford is the best. And I just feel like Terence Crawford hasn't proven himself at 147. He hasn't fought a real 147 guy. I think he did beautiful at 140. But at 147, he's not proven. You can't say he's the best at 147.
Yeah, I feel like Errol Spence is the best at 147 because obviously he did the most. However, I think he was talking about overall. I feel like he was talking about, the fact that he moved up in divisions and stuff like that. I mean, it ain't Terrence's fault that he started at 135. That's just his body, and that's how it worked, So he definitely won belts in different weight divisions. So that's what qualifies you to be a pound for pound fighter, and that's what Terence Crawford have done. So at the welterweight division, he definitely has to prove himself by fighting the likes of Errol Spence, the Porters, the Ugas, the Danny Garcias. And so what's your take? You think Terence don't want the smoke, or you think he capping when he stated last night that he want to fight all these welterweights, or what?
Well, he actually didn't state that.
Well, I just feel like he doesn't want to fight Sean Porter. I feel like Sean Porter is the perfect gate key for 147, regardless of how he looked against Ugas. You guys said he didn't look that good, but he didn't come out 100% for Ugas like he came out for Errol Spence.
Yes, sir.
True.
He looked totally different. If he had put that effort into Errol Spence, the Ugas fight might have been looked a whole lot different.
And I feel like Ugas is a good fighter too. It's just he slept on. Ugas, technically, the way he was taking angles, because you got to keep in mind, Errol Spence wasn't using as many angles as Ugas was. Errol Spence was just walking forth, just wanting all the smoke, and he beat Porter at his own game. Ugas, on the other hand, he was just taking angles, and Ugas, he beat Omar like he stole something. So Ugas is one of the best too at 147. So it ain't no shame that Sean Porter had a tough fight with Ugas, because I believe Ugas probably upset Danny Garcia if he fight him. But now I do agree with you. I feel like Terence will fight Porter next. I don't think, because it will look so bad if Terence fight an unknown fighter, for example, instead of fighting a Sean Porter or somebody that's a name in the welterweight division. Because when you have a Kenny Porter calling you out, when you have Ugas willing to fight you, for example, and all these welterweights, all these great names, and you fight a Ray Robertson, who's a good opponent, the last guy that beat Terence Crawford in the amateurs, but still is an unknown fighter. Like, a lot of people don't know of him. So yeah, I agree with you on that. But so any last thoughts you want to give before I let you go, fam?
No, man, I appreciate you guys. I listen to you guys all the time, man. I appreciate it. That's all, man. Thanks a lot.
I appreciate it, Akhi. So we're going to hop on to the next topic, and that's the awards of split decision. /Akhi TV /new media. So let's get straight to it. So let's start off with fighter of the year. Who you give it to and why? And
all right. So first of all, with each of these categories, we want to state beforehand the kind of criteria that we were going on. when we were kind of choosing that.
Okay.
So with Fight of the Year, we're thinking about their activity in the year, kind of major wins that they've had, including any kind of big
names.
Yeah,
stuff.
so major wins include
and the performance,
like mains, how you perform in there, and also any like if you have cleaned out a division, for example, and become undisputed or things of that nature. So that is our criteria that we're using for Fight of the Year, and I'll give you each of the different criteria for the different categories. So we haven't talked about this, so this is going to be the first time that we've heard these discussions. I made sure. So I will say that my Fighter of the Year might be a little bit surprised, but I'm going with Teofimo Lopez.
Okay, that's a good name.
He went from Prospect of the Year to Fight of the Year. And I'm going to tell you why. So one is he fought 4 times this year. He had 3 wins by KO, and he had 1 unanimous decision. He became a champion for the first time, or I should say maybe a title holder. And I like the fact that he didn't earn it. It wasn't this vacant championship that he went and that they had, and they just decided, hey, let's grab these 2 guys. No, he went and fought a champion who had defended his belt.
Respected, too.
A respected champion. And because of his performance, everything that he had to weather, he was active, fought 4 times. He put in good performances, knocked out 3 of his 4 opponents, became a champion, beat a champion.
And calling out Lomachenko. Calling out Lomachenko.
Getting through his family drama, regrouping. I'm going to give my Fight of the Year for 2019 to Teofimo Lopez.
Teo definitely deserve it. However, I do have a different pick, but I see where you're coming from. Teo definitely deserve it. So basically, we're going to give our list, and next show, we're not going to talk about it. We're just going to announce what we agree. We're going to have to both come to an agreement next show, all right? So for the moment, I'm going to state is Errol Spence for me, because Errol Spence fought Mikey Garcia, and he fought him on pay-per-view, you know what I mean? And he made Mikey look horrible because it was supposed to be his Duran moment. I mean, he even had Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray said Mikey is going to perform a Duran on Errol Spence, and I was just heartbroken, man. I'm like, man, I know Errol Spence was too, because that's a guy he looked up to. His favorite fighter, I believe he stated at one point. So for Sugar Ray to say something like that was shocking to me. And then he came out later on after Errol Spence said, how come our own people don't support us? You know, he took it back saying, I never said that, where you clearly did on an interview, but it is what it is. So obviously the way he performed against Mikey Garcia was just a beauty. He showed that he could box. He more than just a banger. He showed his boxing skill. And one thing for sure, he fought Muhammad Ali style, which is that, pretty boy, move around, box beautifully, vary your offense and defense, and that's what he did for the first 4 rounds, and then he turned it up on Mikey Garcia. He let him know, I'm coming with that Mexican style on Texas, baby. So he turned it up on Mikey and took him to school. Both ways, I believe if he would have selected his shots a little bit better, and he probably could have stopped him, but I don't even see him performing better than he did against Mikey, because that was such a beautiful performance, and you can't critique it, period. So it's just credit to Mikey, because Mikey was not looking to win. He was looking to survive. So I'm going to state that. That's why Errol Spence didn't KO him, in my opinion. So moving on. Then he fought Sean. I got to point it out. Yeah. He fought Sean Porter on the guy that people claiming could beat Terence. The people that claiming Porter beat Terence Crawford is a stylistically bad matchup. Guess what? Errol Spence fight Porter, and guess what? He fought him at his own game. He told him, I got more dog than you during the face-to-face. And guess what happened fight night? He did not retract one word, because he did exactly what he stated leading up to the fight, and that's going straight to Porter and beating him at his own game. Floyd Mayweather used to say, I'm going to beat you at your own game. Errol Spence that's exactly what he's doing. He's showing these fighters that, you know what, regardless of what you bring to the table, I'm not going to beat you at my own game. If you're a brawler, I'm going to box you. Nah. If you're a boxer, I'm going to box you. If you're a brawler, I'm going to brawl you. So I believe Errol Spence earned the Fighter of the Year because of that, and he wants all the smoke. He wants the smoke with Terence, even after an accident. He wanted to smoke with Danny. Because of the table turn, now Danny willing to sit with him and eat with him, and now he wanted to fight with Pacquiao. So, like I said, you really can't go wrong with either one. But I believe Errol Spence earned it a little bit more.
All
what
right.
the comments say?
So let's
who
go.
they agree with?
A lot of people. Well, I ain't gonna say a lot. A couple of people they feel that Wilder is. So Wilder. So I'm gonna give you my reasons, and then if you want to offer in our
Who said that?
A couple of them. Skills from New Orleans.
They said
shout out
Wilder?
to him. Yeah, to get Wilder.
Yeah,
and
Wilder
then
too.
Ronald
Wilder did
Finkley.
great. Wilder fought
I did,
Ortiz.
So this is my reason. So Wilder, he fought twice. The first fight was against Dominic Brazil, who
And
was
he
like
slept him.
He slept him, but it's like who hadn't slept him? You know, in this
Only
sense,
AJ, and AJ took him 6 rounds. Like, so it's only one person that slept him. So
Well,
like,
I mean, as far as top heavyweights, I don't look at Dominic Brazil. I can't think of a really good win.
but
that he
Ortiz
has.
is a great name.
Ortiz is a good name, but that's one name, and then so he didn't necessarily pick up a strap. So the reason I gave it to Teofimo, I said because he was active. He fought 4 times. He had 3 knockouts, and he actually added on, to it because he grabbed a belt. He beat a champion who had defended the belt. And I'm not saying like this. It's a good argument. Wilder had some performances, but if he would have maybe had another fight and fought another top guy, and then he did sleep somebody, but he also slept somebody he already slept before.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I agree with some of the things that you say. However, I disagree with the fact, like, okay, obviously Lopez had more fights, but he's a contender. I mean, Wilder, on the other hand, he's a champion, so he can't really fight that many times a year.
He can fight other champions.
He fought his mandatory. He wasn't even supposed to fight. He wasn't even supposed to fight Brazil. He was supposed to fight Tyson Fury. But it ain't Wilder fought that Tyson Fury said absolutely not. So, like I said, at the end of the day, Wilder did what he was supposed to, get rid of his opponent, that bug that was on his ear, and he knocked out Brazil, then knocked out Ortiz because he said he want to clear up all these rematches. However, you stick with Tio, I stick with Errol. Some of the fans stick with Wilder. Wilder is definitely a candidate of Fighter of the Year. Ain't no doubt about it. I mean, he a top 3 candidate, matter of fact. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up a call that my man just called, so I got to make sure I call my man back because I promised him I will. So like I said, I'm receiving a lot of calls, and we got to keep the show moving. So you could state some of the comments to
so Skills from New Orleans said T.O. is a great choice, but Wilder is something special. Sean Johnson said
so nobody picking Errol in the comment section.
Omar Hamilton has Wilder's hands
leave your
down.
message for
Sean Johnson, speaking about Lopez, said he had all the family drama in the midst of all those fights. He gives props for that. Augustin Delgado said Wilder best at heavyweight, Spence best at 147. Spence got too much going for him to lose to Crawford. I think Spence can. T.O. faced one top fighter. You contradicting yourself.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think everybody, I would say Wilder only really faced one top fighter. Also, and that top fighter was a champion who had defended his belt, and it was kind of a pick and fight, and he stopped him in the second
All right,
round.
well, I'm gonna move on to the next topic because
Thanks for your comments, though, absolutely. So it seems like overwhelmingly Wilder is the choice.
For real, we might have to go with Wilder then, because we gotta go with fans sometimes. But obviously, Wilder did do great. I ain't even think about Wilder like that, but obviously he's a candidate and top 3 for sure. So he probably deserved that spot for sure. Let me pick up the call real quick. My man, hold on. Let me connect it first. So, Akhi, how you doing, fam? State your name and where you calling from.
Peace.
This is Juice of Life from Fresno, California.
All right, how you doing, fam?
West Side?
Good.
What's goody? What's goody?
Yeah, I was just gonna talk about the Fighter of the Year. I wanted to give Errol Spence the Fighter of the Year But me personally, thinking about it, to be fair and to be honest, I think that the person that deserves the fight of the year, you're probably not going to guess this, or you're probably not going to expect me to say this, but I think that Josh Taylor deserves the fight of the year.
Josh Taylor. Hey, listen.
Wow.
Josh Taylor is a candidate as well.
Unexpected.
Because Josh Taylor, he came out of nowhere. Like, he wasn't even expected to win the, what they call it, the Ali Trophy or whatever the tournament called, the the Super Six or whatever. He came in, as far as I know, Reguez was supposed to win that. And then he came out of nowhere, and from day one, as soon as I laid my eyes on him, I was like, this dude gonna be in the finals. And he sure did, and he won the Ali Trophy. So the way he performed and the way he carried himself as a champion, he's definitely a candidate. And for sure, he will fight. If he fight Terence Crawford, that's one fight I'm looking forward to. But yeah, finish your thoughts, Akhi.
Yeah, I probably agree with you. I was actually going for Regis Prograis, and I knew that it was gonna be a hard fight if Regis Prograis fought, right? But the thing that I don't like about Regis Prograis, he has the same mentality that Terence Crawford has, and that's what would make that fight good to me.
What is that?
The mindset, like, I'm great and I have the skills, and like he's very confident in himself. And lets the confidence get to his head. Yeah. So what Regis does is he leaves his guard open too much. He's good at slipping punches, but when you're fighting somebody like Josh Taylor and the judges are looking at you slip punches and you're moving around the ring, sometimes those punches that he slipped, they count those as punches. Mm-hmm. So if you're gonna slip punches, you gotta slip punches, and you gotta make sure that you can see there's space between your head and the punch that you slip. Yeah. But what he likes to do, he likes to be cute, and he likes to try to do like how Ali does when he slips his punches, and he's doing it like Neo from the Matrix. That's the best example to give you.
He has to keep his guard up a little bit more. I mean, as far as the Crawford comparison, obviously Crawford has better instinct, but he obviously doesn't have the instinct of Teddy Atlas. The fact that he said he has the best instinct of ever, because that's Roy Jones or Ali or Floyd Mayweather. That ain't Crawford, in my opinion. All the respect to Crawford, he don't have the best instinct. I seen better. However, he does have better instinct than Reguez, and better reflexes and better defense. So I will say that will come into play if he do fight a Taylor. However, Taylor, when he was fighting Reguez, man, them short hooks that he was throwing, he was comfortable in the pocket. Like I said, he could box, but he showed that he could fight in the inside as well. He could in the kitchen and cook. You know what I mean? He was cooking, and Reguez was trying to cook with him, but that night he was the better chef. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. Any last thoughts before we hop into the next award?
I was just going to ask you this. What do you think about, because I heard a rumor of Regis going up to 147 because he lost that tournament.
I mean, it should be the right decision unless he could land the Mikey Garcia fight or a big fight at 140. If not, then the best idea is to move up to 147 because there's better competition, there's bigger names, and there's more money to make. And he already lost to the best guy at 140. So, like, you the second best at 140 because anybody that didn't join the tournament when it was available for everybody, obviously you didn't want the smoke with everybody because, like I said, if you didn't join the tournament, then you already counted yourself out of being the best at 140 because that tournament was to clarify who is the best at 140, and that's Taylor at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with you, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think that he's ready to go up to 147. I think that how he fights, if he doesn't get his defense up and he doesn't box right, I think that he'll get walks right now. And they're stronger up there at 147 than at 140.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's way more knockout artists at 147. So
yeah, but
I don't know. That's my thoughts. And also another good fight for him. A proven fight for him would be Sharon Ennis. That would be a beautiful fight.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that'd be a great fight. But like you said, one thing, it might not be the best idea in the world. But listen, Reguez got all the heart in the world. One thing for sure, he doesn't lack heart. So if he want to move up to 147 and challenge himself, I believe that's maybe that's the best way to go about it, to land these big fights, because it's going to be hard for him to land a lot of these big fights at 140. But I appreciate you for calling in. You could call in at the end of the show when we have the call-in segment. For right now, we about to hop into the next topic. And so I appreciate you for calling in, Akhi.
Okay.
And
So while you do that and get that ready, I just want to give a couple of shout outs to people. So Jorge Vargas has Canelo. He said he beat Jacobs and Kovalev.
Man, Canelo, he counted himself out as soon as he fought Kovalev with that fixed BS.
Let them
listen, Canelo ain't gonna have to call in if you want to talk about it. Listen, Canelo.
I'm just reading their opinion. Somebody was like J-Rock ? J-Rock had a good year.
Yeah, J-Rock a candidate.
I'm just reading out there. Another for somebody said Ramirez. And then Augustine Delgado says fight of the year should be Wilder for going through King Kong Ortiz.
Yeah, so we don't have a lot of time. Let me hop into the next topic.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fight of the year. I'm gonna just state we talked about this last episode, but just because this is the award episode, so I'm gonna just go ahead and state my thoughts. It's Errol Spence versus Porter, because both fighters was in their prime. I understand Donaire versus Inoue was a great fight as well. It was prettier. However, one thing for sure, one fighter was on the way out the door. One fighter was on his way in. Porter versus Errol Spence was two fighters in their prime, and they gave us a classic fight. Regardless if people think it's an ugly fight or not, it was a classic fight, regardless, either way you look at it. So in my opinion, that was the fight of the year. It had everything, blood and sweat and tears, and a classic moment, and just a fight to remember for the boxing fans. What's your take?
All right, yeah, so we talked about this. I had my man Inoue versus the kind of veteran, but still got it. Nonito Donaire. It was a drama. It was people getting hurt. It was adjustments that was made. It was a highly skilled and technical fight. And I really enjoyed it. And I want to just give some love to the little guys out there.
Yes, sir. Rap Critic, my man that called in last show. You already know. He stated, "Gotta build this empire brick by brick. Salute to my family, Akhi and Professor Nims. Salute all day, Rap Critic. That's my man. For the ones that don't know, now you know. So, Rap Critic, drop your area code. So when you do call in, I'll pick up. Please drop your area code. I appreciate you showing love and support every time. Remember, I appreciate all my Akhis and all my supporters. Thank you. Now, J-Rock versus Hurd was definitely a great fight. People saying GGG versus Devyachenko was another great fight. I agree with y'all 100%. However, moving on to the next topic. That's the hot topic right here, because we got the the prospect of the year. Because obviously, as far as the prospect of the year, Shakur was a prospect last year. Devin Haney, Lopez, all these fighters that was prospects, they ended up being champions this year. Mm-hmm. So they no longer prospects. Now we got to look at the new generation. So as far as the prospect of the year, I got Jaron Ennis. A lot of people are not familiar with him. However, he a fighter that has a lot of skill, a lot of speed. He a showboating fighter. I enjoy watching him. He's a great fighter in my opinion. So I believe Jaron Ennis is the prospect of the year. He wasn't as active this year as he was last year for some reason. I don't know if he have promotional issue or whatsoever was so on. However, I hope he don't fall into the Andre trap where he had problems with his promoter and all that. I hope he make the right decisions. And he definitely in the right weight division, welterweight, the hottest division in boxing. So if you're going to be the hottest prospect of the year, you in the hottest division as well. So welcome for Ennis. We're going to see more of them in my opinion. Ennis. So I got Ennis as the prospect of the year. What's your take on that, Professor?
AKA shout out to Boots Ennis. I'm going to go with my man, Virgil Ortiz. 15 wins, 15 KOs. I think he had 4 fights this year, all KOs, of course. 3 or 4, I'll check again. I did have Ennis was up there. He was I think he only had 2 fights this year. I think he wasn't as active as compared to last year. He had 5 fights last year. And when I say last year, I mean in 2018, the year prior. So they were neck and neck. I think he's actually more skilled. And the thing is that both of them are in the same weight division. They're both 147. So that's very intriguing. So
they can fight. They can fight. We over here talking about they the prospect of the year when they could fight each other. Hopefully they fight each other. Virgil Ortiz called Akhi Thurman. That's a great fight. However, let's see you versus the Ennis first, and the winner of that definitely deserve a title shot, or at least a big fight. So if Virgil Ortiz and Ennis could be on the same page and fight each other, they two hot prospects. Because you got to remember, to land the title shot nowadays at the welterweight division, it's almost impossible with the talent that's around. So you're going to be able to land a big fight without a title. However, to be able to do that, you got to prove yourself. Virgil Ortiz and Ennis has to prove themselves by fighting each other maybe. So Rap Critic, call in. I'm definitely picking up your call. So go ahead and call in. I haven't got the call yet. I know your area code, so go ahead and call in, and I'll definitely pick up the call. So on to the next award. Well, this is basically the top 10 pound for pound list. You know what I mean? So, in my opinion, the list, like I said, we will announce it next show, which is the official. This one is just basically why we stating or why we think the way we do. And basically, criteria, we got to back it up with facts. So, to be on the top pound for pound list, you have to be active. You have to have a great resume. However, it's interrupted by Rap Critic, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up Rap Critic call, but I'm going to have Rap Critic waiting on the line real quick. Rap Critic, I'm going to speak to you in a little bit, but let me go ahead and talk about this subject real quick. So, like I said, to be a pound-for-pound fighter, you have to be on the top 10. You have to have a good you have to have a good resume. You have to have a good year, perform very well, be very dominant. So it depends how dominant you are against who you fighting, and the main thing is fight the best. And not avoid the best competition and claim you pound for pound when you have the best fighters around your division, but you don't fight them and end up fighting fighters that people don't want to see, and then you claim you pound for pound, because we got to see you be dominant against the best. So you have to fight the best, and you have to be dominant with it, or at least win in a convenient fashion. So I'm gonna start the list by stating I got Crawford number 1. I got Pacquiao number 2, depending on his next move, if he fight Errol Spence or not. If not, he gotta, go somewhere else. He's a legend. We respect him. But if he's not fighting Errol Spence next, then absolutely he's not number 2 in my opinion. But if he does, then I gotta give him his respect, because he just beat Akhi Thurman at 40 years old. He have a great resume. He been very dominant, and he fighting Errol Spence, which is the best welterweight next. So if he does, like I said, depend on his next move. If he does fight Errol Spence, he's pound for pound number 2 in my opinion. I got Lomachenko, and he obviously fighting Lopez next. I got Canelo number 4. I got Wilder number 5. Oh, hold on. After Pacquiao, I got Errol Spence. I don't know if I said that. Number 3, I got Errol Spence. Number 4, I got Lomachenko. Number 5, I got Canelo. Number 6, I got Wilder. Number 7, I got Inoue. Number 8, I got Charlo. Number 9, I got Andrade. Number 10, I got Mikey Garcia, and we'll see how he look in his next fight. Mikey Garcia is on the bottom of the list because even though he got a good resume, he avoided the best, from Gamboa to Danny Garcia. Now he fighting Jesse Vargas. So at the end of the day, he fought an Errol Spence, but that looked like a money grab. So I don't know. Mikey Garcia has to do more to climb the ladder. So what's your take on that? Can you give me your top 10 real quick, Professor Nim?
Okay. Is Rap Critic on?
Yeah, Rap Critic. Hold on. I got Rap Critic on the line too. Rap Critic, how you doing, fam?
I'm good, fam. It's good to hear y'all again, man.
Yeah, appreciate you for calling in and tuning in. Rap Critic, like I said, we appreciate you every time.
That's a bet, man. I gotta support. Like I said, man, I gotta build an empire brick by brick, man.
Yes, sir. You already know.
So, Critic, we're a little bit on time, but hey, give us your top 5 right now.
Top 5 pound for pound, Rap Critic.
In no order, top 5. Yeah. I'd have to go like no order, because y'all got me on the spot.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
I had to go Bud Crawford.
Okay.
I had to go Errol Spence.
Okay.
Lomachenko had to be in there.
Okay.
See, Errol Spence, Bud, Lomachenko. Give me I don't want to put Clint Buterol. I don't want to put his name in there.
Okay.
Clint Buterol.
all right. You got a reason. So it's okay. Yeah, you could go. You got Wilder.
Yeah, I got Wilder.
Okay, Wilder.
And last but not least, damn. I said Bud. I said Errol.
Yeah.
I said Wilder. Lomo.
Yeah.
Last,
Pacquiao, maybe.
I had to put the little guy in there, man. Let me get Manny in there, man.
You got Manny in there? Okay.
Yeah, he a big man now. He on 147 now. Yeah, but that's definitely, you sound like my list almost. Obviously, you threw Canelo out their list. I mean, Canelo, like I said, to be on the list, you have to fight fighters they got to be the best at your division. You know what I'm saying? Like Charlo, Andrade, and he definitely been avoiding them guys for the past 6 years. So it's not a good look. Yeah, you're looking good against Jacob, which is a good fighter. You're looking good against a Kovalev or not even looking good against Kovalev, but regardless,
he knocked him out.
He knocked him out, but he was winning. Kovalev was winning almost, and he was like a cripple fighter. I mean, the man was on his way out the door. He had a foot out almost. And like I said, you ain't fighting the best, and you choosing to fight fighters with all these disadvantages instead of fighting the best is not a good look. So definitely I can see why Canelo is not on the list, and a lot of people don't have him on the list because of those reasons. And Lomachenko too, but however, Lomachenko is fighting Lopez next. That's a good opponent. That's why I put him on the list. And I put Errol Spence over them guys because Errol, unlike most, he the truth. He want all the smoke. So Professor Nim, how your list look?
Top 10.
Give me your top 10 real quick.
I'm gonna give the order. So
you don't have to look at the comment section.
No, Sean is.
What Sean say? What Sean say?
He was like, he said, "Cheat Nello." You know that we know that's Professor's boy. So I'm gonna go. I got Bud number one, and a lot of it has to do, I think, with what he has done at 140. I haven't, his resume at 147 so that, but I just skill wise, I got Bud 1. I got Lomachenko 2. I got Errol Spence 3. I got Canelo 4. 5 I have Inoue. 6 I'm actually gonna go with Wilder. 7 I'm gonna go with Usyk. At number 8 I'm going to throw in there, not kind of throw in there, but let me go. So I kind of waffle back and forth, but I got Danny Garcia at 9, and then so like
Danny ain't do a thing, man.
I mean Mikey Garcia.
I'm tripping. Okay.
Mikey, I'm tripping.
I got you.
Danny can kick rocks.
Okay, Mikey.
I got a surprise at number 10. It's Jose Ramirez, because he does a lot of good work on, and he actually stopped Maurice Hooker, who I thought was a really good fighter.
But he didn't join the tournament. I respect that, but he did not join the tournament for some reason. He stayed out of the tournament, so I believe Taylor could have definitely top 10. But I don't know. I don't like the fact that he chose not to go to the tournament and look for a way out. So
my 8 is a little controversial, but I'm still gonna.
Usyk.
No, I already had Usyk at number. So I'm gonna go with Triple G.
Man, you tripping, man. Lomachenko beat him, man. Your list look horrible right now.
I'm gonna go with Triple G, but as record wise, so really he's only been beat by Canelo officially.
He been beat by Jacob. He been beat by Andrade. He been beat by Charlo because he don't want none of the smoke with them guys.
You got Charlo on your list, and like you can't name
Charlo
one significant win.
William. He slept William, and look at him. They talking about him being the fighter of the year, being heard. He slept William like he stole something, man. Like William is a good fighter.
In 2019.
But I'm saying is you got to look at how dominant he been. Like like you got to give, like I said, at the end of the day, he's willing to fight the best. He been dominant. He had a good resume, and I got Andre up there too because I'm not gonna put Gennady Golovkin over a guy like Andre and Charlo when he avoided both of those fights. Those fights, they were both on the table, and he said absolutely not. So I'm not gonna support him.
I'm not gonna. What he did. I just want to know what he did.
I'm saying facts. Look, I'm telling you this: Charlo and Andre sleep Gennady Golovkin. So you got Gennady Golovkin on the list, and those guys sleep him.
No, but once they do it, then I'll put them right there in that position.
Yeah, but once they do it, right? If Gennady Golovkin was willing to fight them, I will put him on the list. But he ain't even willing to fight them. So why would I put him on the list knowing the fact that he's not going to fight them? You know, he's about to fight somebody that's unknown. He promised Andrade and Deryachenko a rematch. And Andrade, he promised him that he will fight him. He will give him the opportunity like Canelo gave him the opportunity. And what happened? Like, he about to fight a mandatory that's unknown that they got out the mud. And I mean, literally, like, they planned it and got it out the mud. So it's like...
It's almost like Andrade. Like, and who's he fighting?
Who?
Again?
Andrade?
Yeah.
Andrade is he sent Charlo a $7 million offer.
What I'm saying is just
he sent Saunders
if we were to talk about like fighting no names,
but
like,
I'm saying Andrade is fighting to stay active because that's the Rigondeaux effect. He have to stay active in case one of these hopeless fighters ready to take on a real opponent. Meanwhile, Gennady Golovkin, he's just staying active to survive. That's the two different. You got one guy like Gennady Golovkin who's looking to survive to cash out against Canelo. You got Andre trying to prove his greatness. He just don't have nobody to fight because Gennady Golovkin won't fight him. Canelo won't fight him.
Jacobs won't fight. He will fight him.
Saunders won't fight him. Saunders won't fight him.
Jacobs will fight him.
Jacob, why would he fight Andre? I already told you they good friends, and they said they won't fight each other.
Not a good friends.
Even Andre said he willing to fight him. It's Jacob that stated that. Andre never said, I want to fight Jacob because we friends. He said, I'm willing to fight him. I'm talking about Jacob perspective. So all I'm saying is Andre is willing to fight Saunders. He's willing to fight all these guys, and these guys are ducking him. Saunders is avoiding the fight. Gennady Golovkin avoided the fight. All these guys are avoiding the fight. So Saunders has to stay active. Charlo is willing to negotiate with him, and he stated, I'm willing to do a one fight.
I thought he avoided the fight.
You keep saying, okay, when did he avoid him? When did he avoid? You keep saying you thought. You got to get your thoughts together.
He made a $7 million offer. It was like, take the money.
You got to get your thoughts together. You're saying, okay, get it together. When did he avoid him?
He just offered him. So how come Charlo's be like, hey, I'm fighting Andre next? Send me the contract.
Have he turned down the offer for you to say? Have he turned down that offer for you to say?
He got quiet. He's got like
no, he haven't. Like
I haven't heard him say anything about Andre.
He like I said, he have a lot of options. He have bank option. Like Andre, like he with the zone, and the zone can't offer him a fight with Gennady Golovkin or Canelo or Saunders or all these guys at the zone. They have to go to Showtime. Like picture Errol Spence. The PBC can't give him a fight and have to look for ESPN fighters like Terence Crawford to offer Errol Spence because there's no fights for him to fight because these fighters are avoiding him. So we know what time it is at the end of the day. So like I said, the reason I got Andrade and Charlo on my top 10 pound for pound list because they willing to fight the best, they are looking to fight the best, and they dominant while they doing it. Meanwhile, Gennady Golovkin and Canelo and all these fighters on the hope list keep ducking these fighters from the coincidentalists, and it's not a coincidence. But
you admit it's not nothing that they've done. It's about what they're willing to do.
No, it's what they look like. It's what they look like. It's because they not on the hope list. If Charlo and Andrade are in the same shoe as Canelo Alvarez, I promise you they be a Floyd Mayweather in the sport right now. That's how I feel about it, and that's how it is. It's just the fact that they are on the coincidental list, and it's not a coincidence. So, just like back in the day, the murderous row fighters gonna fight each other, while the hopeless fighters gonna fight each other. But Rap Critic, can you state your thoughts a little bit on what we talked about? Because I'm getting a lot of calls, so just state your thoughts. Sure. Do you agree or disagree with any one of us? And just summar it real quick.
Well. All right, like even though I got Bud Crawford up there, like we have to keep in mind, he's still riding off of what he did at 140. Like let's just get that out the way.
I agree. I agree with both of y'all for different reasons. I noticed that Professor Nims, like he likes to make sure everybody gets mentioned. Like I noticed he's pretty good at that as far as mentioning like the lower tiers. I don't know who said it, but somebody said it. One of y'all said it that Andre at least did put that offer out there for the $7 million to Charlo. But at the same time, I agree with Professor Nims on I can't go off hypotheticals. I can only go off what's actually happening and what I've seen. So I kind of lean more. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, but what's facts is Gennady Golovkin turned down a fight with Andrade. What's facts is Saunders turned down a fight with Andrade. What's facts say is Canelo came out stating that Andrade is boring and he's not a challenge. What facts say is all these fighters are avoided Andrade. That's what facts say. I know he haven't fought a Gennady Golovkin or a Canelo or whoever, but what facts say is that he tried to fight them and there was an offer and they said absolutely not. So I can't let Gennady Golovkin slide for having an Andre fight on the table, for having a Charlo fight on the table, but choose to fight. What's that guy he fought? I don't even know, man. His last opponent before Devyachenko. I can't even recall. He even turned down a fight with Devyachenko. Remember when he vacated the IBF strap before he fought Canelo the second time? So it's like we already know what time it is with Gennady Golovkin, and we know what time it is with Canelo. But I appreciate you calling in, Rap Critic.
Much love, Rap Critic.
Man, it's all love at the end of the day, and we you know. I respect the fact that you always show love. You always tune in to every episode. So appreciate it, Akhi.
Hey, one more question before I go, man. I want both y'all's opinions, and like I'll get off. I'll listen in the chat. How y'all feel about the two young boys, Teofimo and Tevin Farmer? And I'll go ahead and go, man.
All right, appreciate it, Rat Critic.
Thank you.
All right, all right, man. I'm gonna check y'all answer in the chat.
All right, appreciate it. He said T.O. and
Tevin Farmer,
like fighting each other.
I just think just how like what's their outlook at lightweight.
T.O. looking good, man. T.O. I mean he about to fight Lomachenko. If he beat Lomachenko, he the man. Period. Like he top 2 pound for pound. He the man. Money wise, legacy wise, everything. Like especially coming off a knockout with Comey. Tevin Farmer, for example. Tevin Farmer, he got a great story. He had a little step back because of the losses, and he was learning on a job almost. However, he got better. He got a tough fight coming up, and we'll see how he performs. I favor him in that fight, but he have to be very careful because he like Gary Russell stated, he don't have that FU on his punches, but he has the skill that pay the bills. You know what I mean? So he could use that. I don't have to. Tyson used to say, what he used to say, everybody got a plan
till they get hit in the mouth.
And Floyd used to say, everybody got a game plan till they miss their first 80 punches. Tevin Farmer obviously go with that game plan. Floyd Mayweather-ish, right? So I see Tevin Farmer as a real player in the game and T.O. as a real player in the game. However, T.O. just have a brighter future as far as the money he could bring in because he's such a exciting fighter. And reminds me of Prince Nassim Hamed all day. Your comments, Professor.
Yeah, so I think that just because of all the ingredients that you get with Teofimo Lopez, I think that he is a star in the making. He just has dynamic performances. That way, he's very charismatic. He likes the attention, and he seemed to be adjusting to it because you got to understand these guys are super young. Tevin Farmer, I love his story. I love Tevin Farmer's story. Yeah. In there, I think that he is just at that kind of lower tier of like the best fighters. But I think there's somebody he can hold belts and make it interesting. I just think that I don't think that when all the dust settles, he's not going to be one of those top fighters.
For sure. How you doing, Akhi? State your name or where you calling from?
My name's Cisco, calling from the Twin Cities. Pieces and blessings by Akhi, Professor Nims.
What's
How
good?
y'all doing?
We good,
we
bro.
doing great. Great talking to you. How you doing? What do you want to talk about, bro?
I'm doing really good, man. So I just wanted to, call in and, I've had like a certain outlook on, the whole Canelo and that weight class. It's just a big mess as I've seen it. And I think it all went back to, the first Canelo Triple G fight when I believe that Canelo lost to Triple G in the first fight.
Facts.
Where, that second fight, he came and he definitely won the second fight for the same reason he lost the first fight. He changed the whole game up on Triple G.
True.
But I think that really messed up that whole division, because if Triple G would have won that fight, I think everything would have been completely different.
Yeah.
And who would have been fighting who and when, and it just kind of messed up that whole division.
Yeah, but you got to realize Canelo. You can finish up. I'm sorry, fam.
Yeah,
no problem. I just, my question is when it comes to Charlo and Andrade, because I looked into it and I look at Charlo being 29 years old, and I look at Andrade being 31 years old, and and I'll look at and I get Kovalev fight. No matter what, Kovalev, he was the man, but he should have never got in that ring. He did it for the money. He knew he was going to lose. He wasn't ready. Mm-hmm. It was for the money. It's an embarrassment, but I think more embarrassing to Kovalev than Canelo, because he should have never taken that fight. But like his resume is pretty impressive for a 29-year-old. When you compare it to 29-year-olds as they go, across the line, even if he fought, the Baldemirs when they were, older, and Dew, Hatton, Sintra, Mosley, Trout, Floyd, Angulo, Lara, Kirkland, Cotto, Khan, Triple G, Daniel Jason Kovalev at 29 is pretty crazy. If you compare Charlo and Andrade, you wonder what they've been doing. Even when I think of the clown. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you got to keep in mind what kind of opportunities you have. Canelo had the opportunities. Charlo and Andrade didn't have the same opportunities. So, for example, Floyd Mayweather. Like, if you compare Floyd Mayweather at 29 to Canelo at 29, then it's they don't even compare. They don't even come close, because some of the names you mentioned, like Ricky Hatton brother, like that's not even like he fought him for a vacant belt. And Ricky Hatton brother was a 147 pounder, and he fought him for a vacant belt at 154. So that's an embarrassment for Canelo. Lopez, for example, he was fighting 140 2 fights before he fought Canelo at 154. So it's only few fighters he fought that make him look good, and that's Lara, which that was a controversial fight. Gennady Golovkin, another controversial fight where he cleared it up the second time, and then a Floyd Mayweather fight where he lost. And then Jacob fight where he, obviously won very convincingly. So my point is,
he was undefeated.
Austin Trott as well. So that's, like I said, that's 5 names where he lost 2. Arguably, he lost the Floyd Mayweather fight, but Lara that he got on the book. So my main point is he been a pro for 15 years and he's 29 years old, and he had all these opportunities, because regardless of who he wants to fight, he could fight them next. Canelo is his own boss. Meanwhile, Andrade and Charlo, like I said, I just pointed out how many times Andrade wanted to fight fighters and they ended up turning the fight down. So it ain't nothing he could do. Like, it ain't in the control of his hand. Like, the fact that he haven't fought a lot of great names and a lot of great opponents is because he haven't had the opportunities that a Canelo had. Because if he did, he probably would have been in a Floyd Mayweather shoe, for example. So if you compare a Canelo to a Floyd, because that's like Floyd had the same opportunities that Canelo had, well, at least he had to fight to at least get to that point. Floyd cleared up the 130-pound division. He was argued. There was no question that he's the best 130-pound fighter. Even 135, 140, 147, 154 almost. So it's like Canelo, we can't say the same, because 154, he was the number one guy. 160, 175, 68, 175. Definitely not 168. Just to save time, we're not going to argue about that. But as far as because we already did on Split Decision episode, I don't know what, but I'm going to leave that video, the link for that video in the comment section below to the segment for this topic. But as far as the divisions, for example, like I said, we know for sure, Canelo is not the best at 168 and 175 and 154 because he haven't fought the best at that division. So it's like Canelo, his resume look good, but it should be way better because of all the opportunities he had. But he looks for the easiest option instead of the best opponent. So, you know, just last couple thoughts before I let you go because we got to kind of talk about the last couple topics and we don't have that much time.
No, thank you. I appreciate your opinion. You know, that's basically, you know, my only thoughts on that. You know, I have a hard time sometimes seeing how some fighters have such little opportunities in comparison because even Adrian Broner, you know, the Floyd clown has fought Manny, Mikey, Porter, Molina, Maidana, Paulie. You know what I mean? Like, and he's 30.
Yeah, but you gotta realize you gotta realize Adrian Broner is the fact that he's like you said, he like a clown and like he kind of like put himself in that position because he has that character. He has the it factor to be famous. Maybe he don't have the skill to back it up, but he have the it factor to be famous. Andrade and Charlo, like Andre, for example, he don't have the it factor to be like a superstar like Floyd Mayweather. Like, so if fighters ain't willing to fight him, he's not like such a superstar where it's going to be so much demand on that fight to take place. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of
they don't sell themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they don't like they don't sell as much as a Canelo because they can't get the fights. They can't see they so good, they won't get the fights that they deserve. Like I said, Andrade is too good for his own good. Like he can't get these mega fights to land like a Canelo or like Adrian Broner, for example, like you said, because Adrian Broner, he put himself in that position because he did the most. He said, "Brush my hair." Anybody can get it. Mexicans, Americans, Filipinos.
He also had a co-sign from Mayweather. So he had who was the biggest.
Yeah, so it's a lot that plays into it. But yeah, I'm gonna let you go, fam. Appreciate it for calling in. I gotta talk about the last two topics.
Appreciate it, guys.
I appreciate it. Now let's go to the last couple topics because we don't got that much time. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock it off. So just go ahead and talk about the round of the year. I give it to Ruiz versus AJ in the third round. What's your take?
Well, we didn't talk about this, but you took my round. I thought that was the round of the year, the third round of the first fight.
Okay, we're on the same page.
It was drama. Both fighters got knocked down. AJ got knocked down twice. I mean, I watched it live and like my heart was just at the bottom of my stomach.
All over the place.
And I think that was clearly the round of the year.
All right.
There's a couple of rounds within the Nui and Donaire fight that
Errol
were
Spence
good.
and Porter
and Errol Spence and Porter. But for my money, round of the year goes to Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz, round 3.
All right. Next topic, knockout of the year award goes to Deontay Wilder versus Brazil. I believe that knockout, man. I don't know who said it, but somebody said when Wilder knocks people out, they fall in sections. You know, obviously, if you're going to talk about power, ain't nobody got more power than Wilder. He don't do it better. I mean, obviously, DJ Khaled, he created another one, but Wilder, he created a better one. Every time he fights, is a better knockout every time. So that's my knockout of the year. What's yours, Professor Nim?
So my knockout of the year is actually, I think it's the knockout that you're referring to. My knockout of the year is actually Wilder versus Ortiz too.
Yeah,
that's when he actually, because with Dominique Brazil, he left him in a heap. He just dropped. But with Ortiz, that was when he just kind of went down in sections. To me, it was a knockout of the year because he had his back against the wall. He was getting outboxed. I actually think he got hurt that round, which is why he got that opening. And then just out of nowhere, just one punch. It doesn't have to be a combination.
No, there was one punch.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It doesn't have to be a combination with him. One punch, knockout, drop this dude. That to me is a knockout of the year.
I definitely could see that. He set him up, blinded him with a jab, and boom. There, all it takes is one, right? Fight of the decade. I got Floyd Money Mayweather. People get mad at me saying he only fought half a decade, but that's how good he is. Because they get mad at me and they be like, oh, it's Pacquiao, it's Canelo. And I'm like, Floyd beat both. Without even trying, like he beat Pacquiao 9 rounds to 3 or 10 rounds to 2, and he beat Canelo every single round. So if you believe they the fight of the year, Floyd Mayweather beat them. So obviously we can't forget Floyd Mayweather versus Sugar Shane, Ortiz, Guerrero, Canelo, Maidana twice. So it's a lot. Like Floyd did it, bro. Like Floyd deserved that spot. What's your take?
So I'm gonna go with Andre Ward. No, I'm just joking.
Andre Ward number 2.
Nah, I'm going with my man Floyd Money Mayweather.
TMT, he next to you, bro. You better say what up to him.
See what it is. Floyd Money Mayweather, fighter of the decade.
All right, and
no cap.
So the hope list of the year, number 1 hope list of the year.
I don't know. So tell me what that is. So
basically, that's the fighters that get the benefit of the doubt because they are on the hope list because they got the complexion for the protection. So I got Lomachenko. I'm gonna explain why. Lomachenko, for example, I'm gonna just go a little background for the people that don't know. For example, he breaks the rules. Yeah, I never seen a fighter that break rules and get away with it. When he came to the game, he had 400 amateur fights. Then he fought in like a WBS tournament without headgear, equivalent of a pro fight. Because I remember speaking to Andre on radio, on Dante Boxing radio show, and Andre said, this guy, he don't have 2 fights and fought for a world title. This guy had 7 fights because he really fought pro style fighting against amateur fighters. And I was like, well,
everybody did that.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's an amateur fight, ain't it? Because he fighting amateur styles. He was like, well, y'all got to remember that when you fight your first pro fights, these guys are not as talented as these guys you fighting without headgears that been fighting amateurs for 100 fights. So he felt like he had 5 pro fights before he even had his first pro fight. But regardless of that, that's not a benefit. That's just called smart planning. But he fought Salido. People like, yo, you don't deserve that shot. But because he a fighter on the hope list, he got it right away. He don't have to work for it and earn your rankings. He lost to Salido, got taken to the Mexican school where he admitted, I lost. He was the better fighter that night. People complained, oh, Salido was being dirty, this and that. Well, I didn't hear the same people complain when Lomachenko was being dirty with Rigondeaux. He was just out there and he will push Rigondeaux, just jump on him. Like, you got to do what you got to do. So when Lomachenko does it, it's fine. But when somebody does it on him, it ain't cool. Like, y'all got to keep in mind, Errol Spence fought Porter. And guess what Errol Spence did? He got dirty with a dirty fighter. That's how he felt from round 1. Porter was pushing his head down. He was punching him down low. So you got to do what you got to do. But when he lost to that Salido fight, the WBO belt, they got a rule. If you lose, if your last fight you lost, you cannot fight for the WBO. But even though he just fought for a title in his second fight, people be like, you know what? Go back to the drawing board. Nah, not Lomachenko, because his hopeless card kicks in. He fought Gary Russell for a vacant WBO strap. And the WBO has a rule. If you lose, you don't get to fight for the strap, your last fight. If you lost your last fight, you can't fight your next fight for the title, especially not the WBO. He broke that rule. So moving on. He moved up divisions. He fought Rigondeaux, a guy like who's 38 years old, who's old and stuff, made him move up divisions. I'm not making excuses for Rigondeaux, but when Manny Pacquiao wanted to fight him, he was like, oh, Manny Pacquiao, I don't want to make my legacy off fighting old fighters. But you fight Rigondeaux that was old, so it's not... Manny Pacquiao could make you a pay-per-view star and you avoided him. And look at who he beat next. Broner and Thurman. Guys you would never step in the ring with because they at welterweight. And you said you will never go past 140. You said you want to be as great as Manny Pacquiao. You didn't have the cojones to hop in the ring with him, though. So, like I said, that was a bad look. Then, obviously, he was a 2-time world champion. He fought for a vacant belt against the Luke Campbell when it was supposed to be a Devin Haney. Somewhere, somehow, politics kicked in and he fought Luke Campbell instead. And he fought him for a vacant belt. Now, how is you a 3-time world champion in three different divisions? You hold 2 straps and you fighting for a vacant strap, a Mikey Garcia strap. When you said, "Oh, my shoulder hurt, I can't fight Mikey Garcia," and I don't. That's not a like I said. I buy that excuse. I don't think it's an excuse. He was coming off an injury, but at the end of the day, he turned down the opportunity. And now he fighting for a vacant strap against the Luke Campbell who lost to Linares. And like, you a champion. You a whole 2-time world champion. How you fighting for a vacant belt? So after that, The
I know,
WBC. Hold on, let me
Loma?
finish. Like that's this year.
I thought we were gonna do the hope list though.
Yeah, that's the hope list. It's Loma.
It's one person.
It's one person. No, I'm saying the award. He wins the award
he wins the
of being
award.
the number one.
Okay.
Because the WBC has the rule of you have to.
I thought it was a list, but it's just the award.
That's a list. Canelo on the list. Canelo number 2, but Lomachenko is number 1 because. As the WBC, when you win the belt, they have a rule you have to defend it against 2 mandatories. However, Lomachenko, he requested a French fries title. That's not a belt or a championship. According to the WBC,
we don't interview him anytime
listen.
soon.
According to the WBC, he came out on an interview stating that Canelo and Lomachenko requested this title to avoid fighters from the coincidentalists, right? So even though the WBC have a rule of when you win the title, you got to basically defend it against 2 mandatories if it's vacant. Lomachenko, he don't got to follow that rule because at the end of the day, guess what? He could request the French fries title and don't have to fight his mandatories. And now he could fight for undisputed against Lopez, which is unheard of when you just gave up your strap, right? That's why he the number 1 on the hope list because he even got ESPN trying to erase his losses twice.
I think we might have lost our feed, bro.
Why you say that?
Because I don't see. Is that?
Man, we on this live.
What's that doing?
Yeah, we live.
Okay.
So, like I said, at the end of the day, Lomachenko, he's on he got the hope list in his pocket, man. He gets some benefits that a lot of fighters don't get because even ESPN try to erase his losses. So it's obvious that he's number 1, Canelo number 2, but we're not gonna get into that. I got my man. As far as the coincidental list, the number 1 is Andre because he been mistreated. All these fighters avoiding him.
I'll tell you, we like that.
We are live, man. I feel like
look, that light is off on there.
Yo,
and
camera.
Like this been frozen for a minute.
Oh,
That's
camera. So okay, we'll end it at that then. So I feel like the camera died on me.
It's like he said they can hear us, but I think the camera died.
I'm sorry, guys. We will finish it next show. We have difficulties. We had the light issues. But we will come correct next show. We come better prepared every time. You can knock us down, but you can't knock us out. Peace, and we out. Professor Nim, get us out of here.
All right, man. Hey, happy 22, everybody. So we want to hear from y'all. Let us know what y'all feel about the pound for pound list, about fighter of the decade, fighter of the year, prospect of the year, fight of the year, and also round of the year. Thank y'all for your love. I think our camera took a little bit too much beating from Deontay Wilder. So we
from
are
this
going
fire I was preaching. Hey,
right, man, much love to y'all, the 3P crew.
Peace.
Peace.
How you do this? Hold on. I gotta go. All right. Appreciate y'all. You can talk. Finish y'all. Tune in next show.
Yeah. Tune in next show. We going live. We're gonna try to do it at a bit of a more amenable hour. So around probably like 5 or 6 o'clock. Rap Critic. Show love. Hey, Skills from New Orleans. Call in, man. You actually had some really good commentary. So I definitely appreciate that. Tommy Renfro. Thanks for the love. CJ, Sean Johnson, always in there. Devon Bostic, Happy New Year. Peace and blessing to you, brother. Donald Payne. My brother Randy Johnson, I see you. Yeah, we just ended the live right now, bro. But I see you out there. I appreciate the love, everybody.